We're on. We're up and running.
Yeah, we're on.
Let's go.
Yeah, first time doing this, man. I'm pretty excited. How are you?
Yeah, me too.
How are you feeling? How are you feeling? Post cards, after the whole aftermath of 300. How are you feeling about it?
After UFC 300, I'm still disappointed with the prelims. I'm not gonna lie. I know a lot of people are saying it's like the greatest card that's ever happened. There was the greatest card on paper, and then it's the greatest card that ever happened. I still think, what was it? UFC 290 to me might have been like one of the best cards ever.
Which one was
I think we're all coming down off the high. We're all coming down off the high of the Max Holloway knockout and the Jamal Hill knockout.
That definitely saved the day.
Yeah.
It did. It was a bit of a weird one.
How do you think it went?
I think, do you know what it was? Because they stacked it as well as they could have done. My fear was like that it wouldn't live up to expectations. That it would kind of kind of fall off a cliff. And like basically, if there were a whole bunch of boring fights, they'd end up with egg on their face. But no, I thought it went as well as it could have gone.
Yeah, you know what? It's kind of, we get so many conspiracies in MMA, and the fact that everyone made weight, there weren't really any early stoppages.
No.
The main fight that needed to be sick was sick. I don't know. Do you think there's something sus there? Like nothing went wrong, man. 18 fights, nothing went wrong. 16 fights. You know what I'm saying?
I reckon they read them the riot act though before they came out. I reckon like leading up to the weeks before the event. I think it was like none of you fuckers better miss weight or you're fucking gone. And they just were fired. The pressure that was on these guys was probably mad.
Yeah.
I think they knew it had to go well.
Yeah. So Chael Sonnen has said this piece, right? He's gone. It's not that it's rigged with certain referees. It's that they go to the same event every weekend. They work at the same company every weekend, and they know the direction that things are meant to go. It's not so much a spoken thing, but it's just like when you work in an office, you know the vibe of the area. So I think what you're saying is right. Like the fighters are like, fuck, this is 300. They've put up big bonuses, which is what gets me so angry at Aljamain Sterling.
Yeah, his whole the thing is, we knew what he was gonna do though. I think that's why he was put on the prelims as well. I mean, I was pretty enraged with when the card first started out and Cody and Figgy was stinking up the joint. I was thinking, oh shit, this is gonna go bad. Like I was not hyped. Like I felt like it was like a deflating almost.
Yeah, because it's meant to come out to like these are two former champions. Cody Garbrandt's known for like getting too emotional and swinging too hard. Figueiredo is known for those huge power shots, and you're meant to be like, how the fuck is the other bloke standing there still? And then that didn't happen. It was like wrestling. You're like, oh shit, here we go.
Well, they spent the first 5 minutes kind of staring at each other for a bit.
Yeah. Man, maybe that goes to what you were saying as well. Like, it's the shit, this is 300. We're the first fight. It's meant to be a banger fight.
They're shitting themselves,
Who's going to lead the dance here? Western Mass. Can we do a shout out to Western Mass?
Western Mass is like this guy. I see him popping up everywhere, but he's been it's a big shout out to you, man. You're somebody who's always popping in for whatever bullshit I tend to.
Yeah. Good to see you, Western Mass. We don't know what the fucking plan is going to be today. When is the boxing on?
I think it's starting I think it's in about 4 hours my time. So I'm assuming.
So in boxing years, it's in about 6 hours.
6 hours, yeah. So I'm not gonna get it until like. And the thing is, I'm not sure that I'm gonna stay up for that shit. To be honest, I'm traveling on Tuesday, so I'm like, I'm kind of in the process of just like, I don't want to set my clock too. I don't want to fuck my clock up too badly.
Yeah, no, fair. Where are you traveling to?
Thailand.
Oh my god! You're going to go to Thailand? Are you going to go to the One Championship?
That's the plan.
Nice.
That's the plan. The thing is, I'm going to do like a lot of like local. I'm going to go to like a lot of local kickboxing shows as well. I always try to do that when I'm there because it's fucking brutal. You see, We've been to Thailand a bunch. The
big fight, super fight tonight.
Yeah, the hype is crazy.
Mate, they have kids doing Muay Thai over there. Like, you know, when you go watch like the local kickboxing, the local Muay Thai, it will start up. Their prelims will be kids trying to kick the shit out of each other.
100%, and that's why I'm there, because I'm a fucked up person. It's like I said, if I see like two people scrapping outside, I'm the kind of guy who's gonna stop and I'm just gonna watch. I'll just any situation. If I see a fight, I'm there. Like,
that's exactly how I am. That's exactly what got me into MMA, which is sort of, it's funny, like going back to boxing. That's sort of what bored me about boxing, because it was this like jab, knockdown. And then the knockdown happens and they like stand the bloke up and give him a couple of seconds to relax. And I'm like, fucking jump on him. Like, let's go.
Yeah, boxing is a bit of a pussy sport that way. And because the thing is, I had the same view that, you know, we were talking off stream just before we came on, and I was like, all my friends think that MMA is either lame or it's like barbaric. And I used to have the same view. I used to be like, no,
you used to think MMA was barbaric?
I thought it was before I ever saw it.
Right.
I'd never seen it. Do you know, like when you hear the reputation of something and you're like, oh, people get their limbs snapped, and I was thinking, I don't watch that. That sounds mad.
So when did you start? Like, when did you first watch it? When was this?
It was about I don't know, 12 or 13 years ago, something like that.
Yeah. So that was around the time when it was still very much called cage fighting.
Yeah.
Because it's weird now that we're in this like ESPN post-legacy belt era, it gets called MMA more and more. Like, you don't hear it referred to as cage fighting that much anymore.
Well, a lot of people think UFC is MMA. They think it's called UFC.
Yes. Yeah. They don't know what MMA is.
And they're unaware that there's other MMA organizations and it goes on elsewhere. They just think that all of this stuff goes on under one place and they call it UFC.
Yeah. But yeah, that's interesting that like you thought it was barbaric and then you actually watch it. I remember going back when I first got into it and I first got Fight Pass, I was like, fuck it, let's go back and watch UFC 1. And the opening fight was someone getting their teeth kicked out. And I was like, now that is barbaric.
But the thing is, though, when I actually started watching it, I was like, this is the shit. I had the complete adverse reaction I was expecting.
Yeah. It excites you.
Do you remember who got you into MMA? There must have been a fighter or somebody who like set you off, because it was the same thing for me.
It was like, full disclosure, it was Conor McGregor knocking out Jose Aldo. That was the first.
That's a big one, man.
I had seen some of the other guys on work sites watching a bit of it, but in Australia, it was so hard to get a pay-per-view. You need to have a certain, let's call it cable for the American audiences. You needed to have cable, and then on cable, you needed to buy the pay-per-view through cable. It was very, very hard to get. So the first time that I actually like tried to properly find a pay-per-view was all the hype around Conor McGregor going into the Jose Aldo fight. And I brought it up on my phone and set it up at work while I was watching it. And when I saw the knockout happen, because again, I would just Google like, when is the fight meant to happen, not when does the pay-per-view start? Because
it wasn't the same as it is social media and whatnot. It was just, you either know when it's happening or you don't.
Yeah. And you had to like Google a news article to be like, the pay-per-view starts at this time, but the main fight should start at this time. And then when I saw that, I was like, I'm in. Yeah. And then I would go to the pub. I would go to my local pub to watch every single pay-per-view, and they would advertise the fight nights. And I was like, what the fuck is a fight? Wait, there's more of this? This is every weekend?
My weekend's set now.
Yeah. And then I would try and bring mates to the pub. I'd be like, look, I'm at the pub watching that. Like, we're drinking. But because it's Sunday, we'd all go out on the piss on Saturday night. Yeah. And no one wanted to come to the pub on Sunday. So I'd be there with like one amateurs or just by myself. Yeah. I don't know. Weak as piss.
Yeah.
So then I really, once you learn how to find your first pay-per-view, look to the east, then you're on nonstop. Dougie, I tried jumping on your stream via your channel, but it still says waiting room. Interesting.
Yeah, maybe check there and see if because that might be explaining why you can't go live. Because we're not getting as many of the comments from yours, which is interesting.
Let's see.
Because I'd assume there would have been more people from your side. It's usually when
Now
I
it
click
says live.
No.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, I thought so. I'm on your section, reading yours,
Right.
and it says live. So I assumed because we were both logged in through both of our Google channels.
Oh, see, we're learning as we go.
There, it's all right. Listen, I've been very open about my amateur levels on YouTube, and here we are.
I think people would be disappointed if there was like a, if there was a level of professionalism too. I don't ever want to be seen that way.
It would fucking ruin it, mate. Especially what I'm doing.
Be awful.
Let's swing back around, right? This is interesting, I think, anyway. Let me know what you think about it. You were saying that people call MMA UFC. They don't even know that there's other organizations. What do you think the PFL needs to do? Look at me with a fucking pen. Listen here, cunt, all right? We're going to have a fucking conversation. What do you think the PFL needs to do to raise itself even close to the UFC? Because they're not even near each other.
No. I think like it all. I made a video about this, funnily enough, where I had like 5 things the PFL need to do in order to stop sucking complete balls, and they were like, I think like some of it was like things like social media, the way they promote themselves is horrible. They've taken a few little steps where it's like, okay, you're starting to get a few big names now. That was one of the things I put as them kind of being more aggressive in seeking out well-established names. But the problem
mate. 1 second, sorry. Apparently, my stream is only showing me. It's not showing both of us. Add a guest. Let me see. Invite.
Maybe if you send me your link, I'll...
Yeah. I'm doing that right now.
Try and... That is bizarre.
Yeah. Look, by the second time we do this, it's going to be a lot better.
We'll see. No promises.
Yeah, well, oh my God, it's doing this thing again.
So are you doing it on a phone or on a laptop?
No, I'm doing it on the computer.
Okay. It sounds like you're talking to somebody and then there's no answers, right? People are thinking, who the fuck
my girlfriend is messaging me in my live stream saying that on my live stream, all we can see is me. We can't see you.
Why are you talking to yourself, Dougie, again?
That's how I usually do my live streams. It's just me rambling to myself for an hour, hoping that someone will come along. Okay. It's sent across. Boom.
Did you send that to me in X?
Yeah.
This is I just called it X. The fuck's wrong with me?
Oh, I don't know, man. It's all right. It's all right. I don't, I'm not going to end the stream because you called Twitter X. You fucking Gen Z.
Yeah, you should not have let me get away with that. That is unacceptable.
Click for more layer. We can't hear Bad Math, so you're responding to him, but we can't hear him or see him. Okay. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you. I've invited Bad Math to my stream. I thought this was meant to co-stream us, but hey.
That's exactly how it's gone in the past. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, welcome to working with Dougie, mate. I logged in on my Google Chrome yesterday, and it just said, like, it wouldn't take me to any websites. And then I went to the Brave browser and logged in on my Google Chrome, and it was all working perfectly. So
can you do me a favor? Can you send me that link you just sent me to the email?
To your email?
Yeah, that might be easier to do from there.
Yeah, done.
Sweet.
All right, I replied to the email you sent me.
Perfect.
Fucking professionalism at its fucking finest.
This is amazing. But this is the thing, it's going to be a case of trial and error a bit.
Yeah. Well, it is what it
is. This might get real weird. Hang on, let me just.
I've now got you set up on 2 separate.
Let me see if this makes any difference. Because to be honest, yeah, like I stream with let's go to Enter Studio. So it should say I'm backstage on yours. So hopefully people can see me.
All right, you are now simultaneously on my channel and on your channel. We're streaming together. Obviously, we're not going to be able to see the chats that pop up on mine from yours. Maybe, I don't know. You got two StreamYards open?
What I can do is I'll just open up both windows. I'm going to improvise the fuck out of this here.
Yeah.
I'm going to have them simultaneously.
As long as it's not echoing.
I think there's a little bit, but it's all right. What's good, Mikey? So can you see? Mike? Yes, I've got them double screen now. This is
I can see Mike. I can see Mike. We got double screen. Look, this is gonna have to do. This is gonna have to fucking do.
I can see like 10 on myself right now. It's fucking bizarre. But
I'm an arrogant all right.
Anyway, so we're all good.
As long as this is manageable, I just want to. Can I shut up one of these streams? I don't want to mute myself. No, it is what it is.
I'm surprised it's not echoing. Fascinating. It's kind of working. It's cool.
All right, cool. So the PFL sucks a bag of dicks, goes around on Ariel Helwani's show saying that it's now co-leader in MMA. It puts on its biggest event ever, and their embedded episodes, literally, Frankie, we get the same amount of views on our fucking channel as the professional fighters.
That's worrying. That's worrying. That's very worrying.
What do they do?
What potatoes out here. You know what I mean? That can't be good for the ego.
No. I mean, it's great for my fucking ego to know that we get the same.
I feel pretty good about it. Yeah. It's embarrassing, it is. But the thing is, it's like Forbes released an article the other day that said that they're like the 5th biggest or 6th biggest company, like combat sport. I'm like, no, they're fucking not. No, they're fucking not.
Well, it depends how much capital the Saudis pumped into it.
And that's where
they're just reading. If they're just reading like this is how much money they have, they could be the fucking biggest company in fight promotions, but no one's watching it.
I don't think even the Saudis are that rich. I don't think anyone can mask that. No, it's pretty bad.
So what do they do? What are some of your 5 points?
So one of them was like, it goes with, the first thing I suggested was, it's bad that I can't remember my own video, but like, it was, I think one of them was like, first of all, they've got to start signing, obviously recognized talent. No talent that leaves, they've got to basically be very, very competitive in pursuing talent in other organizations that are already established. And they're already doing that to a certain extent. You know, Francis Ngannou one was a big one. Like, I feel like that hasn't worked. He hasn't even fought for them yet.
No.
So that's kind of
he's just paraded around.
Paraded around, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a whole host of things. Like they're not, you don't really know, and Bellator had the same problem. It's like they've got some really great characters in Bellator. Like, do you remember the Ruthian Stotts and Danny Sabatello build-ups?
No.
Exactly. Like those two fuckers were extremely entertaining.
Yeah.
Nobody saw it.
Yeah.
Like, unless you were tuning in for like, and they had a real beef with each other. And it was really funny watching them. They appeared on Ariel Helwani, I think, at some point. And it still didn't get that much traction. But it's all part of that. They don't use social media well. They don't promote themselves well. And also their fight cards are not regular enough. So again, with UFC, you know that pretty much every week you're going to get a UFC event.
Yeah.
With PFL and Bellator, you don't know when the fuck it's on. So it's like, you've got to actively look for that shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
And if you
and in the world,
go on, sorry.
Well, in the world of Fight Pass, where you can just click on Fight Pass, the schedules are all there. The replays are all there. You can pretty much just be like, I'm in the mood for a fight. Let's just go to Fight Pass. And something will be on. But you're right. Like with PFL and Bellator, it's when is it going to be on? And then furthermore, how the fuck do I watch it? Because I don't know how they do it in England, but you need to have Stan, which is a subscription service. You need to have that. And then you can only watch, let's call it Western Bellator. You can't watch PFL Europe.
Yeah, that's the problem. So, I mean, it's confusing. They're just stupid people over there. They just start way of putting it. And then the thing, there are so many things they do wrong. So it's like there's the fact that they don't promote themselves well, but also their cards are slow and very badly presented. Like, do you remember that PFL card they had? Well, even the PFL Championship, the Night of Champions, they couldn't even get the ring walk correct. They had people like, walking around the whole arena, and I'm like, wait,
why? Why are we doing this?
Like, genuinely, like they can't even do the most basic shit correct.
Yeah, it almost feels like too much, mate. Like when you watch the UFC, it's very, very simple. Everything in the arena is pretty much blacked out. The fighters just walk through into the cage. Even the way that they present the logos and everything, it's just fighter name, clock in the middle. It's very simple, which is probably why the UFC makes so much money, because they can take that setup and put it in any arena, low cost price. 100%. PFL versus Bellator was like fucking fireworks, ring girls, dancers, arena. They come out, they have a shit fight that's boring as anything. Then they got to put a fucking ring on a guy, belt him up, go sit on a throne, grab a flag. It's like, what are we? Can we just have a fucking fight, please?
It feels like they're trying too hard and they're desperate little bitches. That's what it feels like.
Yeah. I said, what's Michael said down here?
He said, I do like the smart cage, but that's the only thing they do right. I kind of agree with that. I like the smart cage.
Yeah, I like the smart cage too. I think we could use the smart cage in the UFC to help with the judging. Like if the judges could have a monitor like DC and Bisping have, because that is the problem with the judging a lot in MMA. You know, we sit here, we got all the fucking angles going. We get the slow-mos, the replays. The judges sit there, they're sitting at one spot. They might miss a punch or see something land that didn't quite land clean. They don't have significant strike count, any of that shit. I think that would help judging a lot if they brought it over to the UFC.
Why they don't just do it? There's no reason to not do it.
And Apex cards are the perfect place to trial them. You know, it almost feels like the UFC this year, we've got UFC Premium, which is their pay-per-view and fight nights that are at arenas. And then we've got like college UFC.
Right. That's what it does feel like. It does feel like the NCAA kind of thing, doesn't it? The Apex stuff.
Yeah. Like everyone on the next Apex card is coming off a loss or it's their debut. Like that's very college UFC.
It is. It is. And that's the thing, you're right. That's exactly where they should be experimenting, because they get all of their pay-per-view. It's not on pay-per-view, so they get their buys paid for in advance. So I think it's the ESPN. They have a deal with ESPN where they get 500,000 for everything they show. That's all automatically paid for. And then whatever views they get after that goes to ESPN, basically. I think that's how it works.
I mean, the thing is, they've got avenues to experiment. Like, you've got Contender Series. You can experiment with a smart cage and different judging with that. And then you've got Apex, which you can experiment with. And then you've got WMMA, which you can, like, do whatever you want with those ones. Like, experiment away.
Yeah. But do you know what I think part of it is? I think it's because they don't want to be seen to be looking like they're copying the competition as well. You know what I mean? If they introduce the smart cage, it's like we're acknowledging that the competition exists. Like if we do, do you know what I mean? If we have ref cams, we're acknowledging the ref cams. I think they use stupidly as well, but
it just never looks good. It never looks like a good view. No, I want to get you started. That's the point of this. Get started. Go rant.
We'll get an unprompted episode of Frankie rants, like, because once I start cooking, bro, I can't stop.
Good. That's a good thing.
Yeah, but no, you're right. Though. That's what the PFL has to do. I would definitely direct people to watch the video that I made on it, because that was part of it. It was like because I want them to do well, and I've said this so many times on my channel. Like, I want the PFL to do well because I want the UFC to get fucked with.
Why is that?
Competition is good because it forces them. So there are so many advantages to it. Not only does it force the UFC to up their game, but it gives fighters more options. So fighters can turn around and be like, "Fuck you, I'm not taking that money," or whatever the case may be, and it creates more. It's like I'm not really much of a pro wrestling fan, right? But I use this as an example. Do you remember when, I don't know if you ever watched pro wrestling when you were younger?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So you know when they had the whole Attitude Era, when WCW was competing with WWE or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it was like the best television we ever got. You had like
Yeah,
Stone
for
Cold,
us it was
in The Rock. You had whatever. What were the ones in WCW called?
I don't well, because we only got one, right? We got back when we were getting it on our TV, it was called WWF. But I remember the kids would have toys of other wrestlers and they would be like,
Right.
these wrestlers are
What the
sick.
fuck is that guy? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'd be like, well, Stone Cold Steve Austin is the sickest cunt going around. Like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think when you've got two organizations that are the best, Chad Hero over here on my channel, so strange that we've got two things going, goes, he likes the PFL, but he doesn't think it's ever going to touch the UFC. And I think you're absolutely right, but it hurts me that there is an avenue for the PFL. There is things that UFC fans are pissed off about. Like no one's pissed off about Bilal Muhammad not getting a title shot, but they are pissed off about Aspinall not getting a title shot.
Right.
The PFL have got this system of meritocracy that the UFC just do not have. And if they could make that system interesting by using social media, like you were saying, open up the rule set by using violence, like you're fucking flying to Thailand to see some good old-fashioned violence. If they could inject some of that into their system, I do think that regular MMA fans would start to point their eyes at it and they could be serious competition. But for some reason, they're just pussies.
They are pussies. They are pussies. And the thing, I'll say this as well, they've got talent. Like they've got guys that have personalities and that are funny. It's like I was saying about Danny Sabatello and Ruffion Stotts. That's just one example of two guys that are like, their beef was it was so childish, but it was genuinely hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, the childish beef is fun. Like Connor and Diaz was just
I love it.
High school.
I am a child. I'm a near 40-year-old child, and I don't give a fuck.
I mean, that's half of why we're here, right? Is to see the shit talking.
100%.
That's why we keep coming back to the press conferences every fucking month, and they're always dog shit. And the best press conferences are the ones where they act like children and throw water bottles at each other and call each other names.
Do you remember a PFL press conference? Because I don't.
No, I've never watched one.
The thing is, I watched this organization. I watched Bellator. I can't name one. I can't remember one really. It's embarrassing.
Yeah. Well, that's the problem. Like, I would rather watch Cage Warriors. I've said this on my channel. So for people from your channel, when I want to like sit down and watch MMA and consume MMA, think about the sport, I watch the UFC. But then when I just want to like watch a good fight and not give a fuck about who the fighter is, like the other day we were talking about this and you were saying, oh yeah, I think John Haggerty won that fight. And like, I remembered that I had gone back and I've watched that fight twice. I couldn't tell you who fucking won that fight. I wasn't scoring it, but it was a sick kickboxing match. So when I watch the other organizations, I just want good, fun fights. And when I have clicked on Bellator, every goddamn time, it looks like fighters who have got their contract, who weren't good enough for the UFC and who are just coasting. They're just coasting along. This is my job. I'm a cage fighter. I'm on a 3-fight contract.
But it's like, you know, when I asked you that question at the very beginning, what got you into the sport? And you said Conor McGregor. Like for me, it was Chael Sonnen. Because like what we're basically saying, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
What brings you in is not the fighting necessarily, it's the personalities.
Yeah.
And Bellator and PFL are fucking horrible at promoting personalities. You can't do it. No one gives a shit. They don't know who they are.
We've all got the same social media. Like we've all got the same social media. How come hire us, Bellator, is what we're saying. Until you get your shit together, hire us and we'll make shorts and reels.
I'm willing to help out for free. I don't mind. Whatever it takes. I just want them to compete. I want them to just not be shit anymore. It'd be great.
Yeah.
I'd be very happy.
Interesting. Okay. Do you think Francis Ngannou's ever going to fight for the PFL?
Yeah, I think he kind of has to now. I think the boxing avenues I think he got embarrassed to such an extent. I think because the thing is, Fury obviously turned up there thinking, I'm just going to murk this guy.
Yeah.
And it was a far more competitive fight than it ever should have been. I think it was a wake-up call for Fury.
Yeah.
He probably wasn't training and was like, I'll get 50 million or whatever the hell he got. And it
he already had that Usyk fight planned, didn't he?
But the thing is, yeah, I don't think he respected Usyk that much as well, because the way that he talks about him, he's like, this is a small guy who used to be a middleweight. I'm going to fuck this guy up. And Fury's got this mentality now where he just thinks, I'm so much better than everyone else. He saw Deontay Wilder as like the boogeyman. And when he finally got rid of him, he's like, well, no one's going to beat me now. Yeah. Like, AJ's not at the level.
I'm so far ahead of the game. I'm Amanda Nunes against Pennington. It doesn't even...
Precisely. There's no point in even turning up to training any. And you know, with him, when a guy like that gets the opportunity to take the piss, have like a kebab every night and drink a keg of beer, you know what I'm saying? It's every night. Yeah. He's going to take the piss. He's not a smart guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he's got people around him licking his arsehole as well, which probably doesn't help.
No. Western Mass, on Dougie's Corner is going, isn't Bellator being absorbed by the PFL? Yeah, man, I think it already has been. I think Bellator literally only exists because they have TV contracts. And because they absorbed the shares and absorbed the company, they don't want to pay any money. So they're just wrapping every single contract that's left with Bellator. I think they're just wrapping it all up, is what I'm seeing.
Because it's like they couldn't even get that right. It's like, because we're still getting Bellator only cards, and then the PFL league's running, and then some Bellator fighters are in that. I think there's a contractual thing as well. It's a bit mad.
I guarantee we will not see Bellator in 5 years. Once the contracts have gone out and they've sunsetted, or whatever TV deals, whatever needs to be wrapped up, once it's wrapped up, say goodbye to Bellator. Yeah, sure. And this idea of like, we're offering all these different products to MMA fans, that's all going to fucking go away. That's all going to go away. Oh, Chad Hero, you're asking a question about boxing. I don't know shit about boxing, but Frankie,
no, I can answer this.
Yeah, go ahead, mate.
So, this is why I'm kind of pissed off about the Haney and Garcia fight right now, because I don't think Haney's that good, and I think he robbed. Like, Lomachenko clearly won that fight. Clearly. I had it like 8-4, and that's me being generous to Haney. And now he's getting a layup against the guy who's clearly out of his fucking mind in Ryan Garcia. It's all very amusing, by the way. I'm loving it, but it's weird. It's just the guy's getting. I don't think the guy's that good, and I think like if you're putting him up against guys like Tank and people like that, he's going to get smashed. But the reason he's fighting somebody like Ryan Garcia is because he's not that good. He's not that good. And he's going to beat Ryan Garcia tonight, because let's face it, the guy's out. The guy's off. You know, he's on another planet right now. But
I mean, he showed up drunk to the presser. That's all I know.
I love that. Drinking a beer on the weighing scale when you've already missed weight is fucking legendary in my mind. I love it. Well,
probably not good for brain impact though, to be coming in hungover. I mean, I'm sure it was just a beer. I'm sure he didn't like Paulo Costa himself and get on the piss. Do you believe that?
He sent a tweet the other day saying, who would win in a fight between me and Jones if we were both coked out of our minds? This is the kind of guy we're dealing with.
I like it. Quite frankly, I like it.
He's a legend. I'm going to watch it. So.
Okay. Nice. Pablo, I might chuck it on. It depends. You know, I don't get to play a lot of video games anymore. I just finished the Fallout series. I might just play Fallout for a couple of hours this afternoon.
Is that series any good, by the way, while you're bringing it up? Because I played 1 or 2 of the games, but I haven't watched the series yet. Is it worth it?
If you're a fan of the games, you will like the series. If you are not a fan of the games, you won't know what the fuck is going on. They don't hold any hands. They're like, this is for Fallout fans.
I think the only one I really got into was New Vegas.
Yeah, fair. I was a massive Fallout fan from when we'll go back to MMA, but like when I first played Fallout 3 and the vault door opened and it was just like go in any direction you want. I was like, this is the shit. This is the shit, boys. So yeah. Mohammed, what's up, brother? Good to see you. Good to see you, man. It's good. Some of the chat's flowing in now that I've actually clicked go live. It's funny how our YouTube works, Frankie. You actually have to click go live for your channel to go live.
Do you know
very complicated shit, mate.
We're going to get it right. Only the people who turned up at the beginning saw how embarrassing the whole thing was. So, you can go back again. It's fine. You can go back and see the whole thing. It's cool.
Jamie says you can kind of follow it as a anti-fallouter, but it's definitely made for the fans. Yeah, it's definitely.
I'm gonna give it a shot. I've got nothing but time on my hands.
It's fun. It's a fun, like, yeah, it's about drugs and the, like, they do everything in there. Do everything in there.
I'm sold. You've got me. I'm good.
They do everything in there. Back to MMA.
Yeah.
Speaking of drinking before fights and all that shit, do you believe Paulo Costa was hungover when he went to fight Israel Adesanya?
Maybe. I mean, does it matter? Like, he was. It was. I think he was. He seems wild and stupid enough to do something like that.
Do you think he's overrated?
No, I think he's overrated in terms of his talent level, but in terms of the entertainment he brings in, not at all. Like, I enjoy watching the guy fight.
Yeah.
He's not going to be a world champion. We know that, but
no,
if there's anyone who watches who doesn't think I'm down for watching a Paulo Costa fight. Like, at least he goes for it.
He goes for it, and he's fucking entertaining on Twitter, at the pre-fight walkouts, at the press conference. At least he's one of those. I call them like, I don't think they're playing characters, but I just like, as I call them characters. He's one of those guys that will talk. Is there a fucking dolphin there? No, it's a surfer. He's one of those guys that will talk shit all the way up until the fight, touch gloves, and then go in and swing. You know,
yeah.
Not like Ian Gary, who will talk shit all the way up until the fight and then go in and start dancing at range. Like, please. It's like getting into a pub fight with someone and they talk all this shit. You go outside and they back away. It's like, are we gonna?
And they start doing the underhanded, like, the gentleman. It's weird.
Like, are we gonna dance or not?
Yeah.
Do you want to handle this boxing one from Chad Hero?
Let's have a look. Boxing fans hindered the fighters from being able to take the loss. Bad Massey seems super cool, but boxers should be allowed to take losses like Haney lost to Loma without being labeled bad. And that's the problem with boxing as well, because it's like in MMA, everyone loses as part of the learning process. In boxing, it feels like once that O goes, you've got like a brand on you that you can't get away from. It's like you're no longer seen as the guy anymore or capable of being the guy because you've got an O. And that's why these guys are so reluctant to fight the best straight away, because it's like, if I lose, my career is fucked. I'm not going to get the money. I'm not going to get the big opportunities. It's a problem.
Dana said that was super important to the growth of MMA. That very thing. Dana White talked about that, how you're allowed to lose a fight in MMA. But have you noticed how now that we're post 2019 and we've become the biggest combat sport, that is starting to creep into our sport, where you've got people like Ian Gary who have this O. Like, we covet the O next to a name more and more now in this new era that we're in.
It is becoming more and more prominent, but it's like what we said. It's like in MMA, it's unavoidable because it's like this. Why they keep promoting this styles make fights narrative, because you're gonna come up with something against somebody. It's like, how many times have we seen somebody who's that person's beat that guy, but that person's lost to the other guy, and then that guy's lost to the guy who beat the other guy, if that makes sense.
No, that's your whole channel, the Bad MMA Matt.
Yeah.
That's what makes it. It's the paper scissors rock of MMA, isn't it?
That's exactly
striker versus the grappler versus the jiu-jitsu. That's what makes it so interesting.
Against different strikers, it's all like, I mean, like it's what makes it interesting.
Yeah, that's true. Like, this might be really a dumb thing to say, but you got strikers like Clay Guida or Mike Perry that will rush in, and then you've got these beautiful counter strikers like Ian Gary. And what that Ian Gary Jeff Neal fight sort of showed us was that if Jeff Neal just fucking pushed the pace a little bit, like, you can have a moronic Michael Chandler be successful against a pretty boy striker, even just in that little breakdown of scenario. So I think I just said Clay Guida could beat Ian Gary.
You never know. You never know.
That's nice.
It's not always easy. You're right though. It's like, that's what, and I agree with you about I agree with you about Jeff Neal. If he'd actually, and Gary was shitting himself in that fight.
Yeah,
we had all that attention on him. Well, he was going in there shitting himself, and that was the perfect opportunity to just bull rush him and fuck him up. He didn't take it. It's a shame.
Yeah. Could have made a name for himself.
Could have.
Anyway, it also inclines the judges to rob people. Oh, this is a boxing one. Go ahead.
Yeah. So but this is again the issue of boxing, because what you get is usually the hometown fighter gets favored. So usually the problem with boxing negotiations and the fact that there's so many different organizers, so many different promoters, the stuff that they argue about is insane. So they're not just arguing about how much money or what split they get. They're arguing about the ring size, where the fight's taking place, the gloves, all that shit.
All that.
So it's like all those boxers are trying to get, and one of the things they try to do is try to get the home advantage so that they can get those favorable decisions.
Yeah,
that's why the UFC is such a better way of doing things because they run everything. They decide where the fight's going to be. They decide what the ring size is going to be, or the cage size is going to be. They take all of that out of the fighter's hands, and they just go, look, this is what you're getting. This is what you're getting. This is where it's going to be. Let's go.
This is like, I'll play devil's advocate for a bit for the UFC. Like, before, you were talking about how you think competition is good for the sport, and for argument's sake, I do agree with you, right? But for argument's sake, a strong UFC, maybe like this, a strong UFC is better for the fans because it does narrow that window of all that bullshit of, well, we can't see Pitbull in the PFL and Bellator versus someone from the UFC. It's all in one sport. So the argument is competition is good for the fighters because it creates an environment where they can bounce between two organizations. But if it was just the UFC, it would be horrible for the fighters because their pay would actually go down if it was just the UFC. But it would be phenomenal for the fans. It would be so much easier to consume the sport of MMA.
Yeah, no, I agree with you, but there's also the extent as well that, like, if the UFC was the only game in town, they wouldn't have to try anymore. So it'd be a case of we don't have to push the envelope, we don't have to innovate because we own the whole market. And that's why these competitive market forces are important, because you get that competitive edge where you need to keep pushing the envelope out in order to make sure that you stay on top. And if they're just on top, which is basically what they are now, let's be honest, they are.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't get these, you don't get the need
to Apex cards.
Yeah.
Hot take. I don't think. Oh, go on, man. What are you going to say?
I was going to say the main benefit is what you said, because I talked about the same thing in one of the videos I made as well. It's like the one thing that I think is missing from MMA is there are so many badasses in like PFL, Bellator 1 that we're never going to see fight each other.
Yeah.
Because of that. Whereas if the UFC had complete control over everyone, we'd see those fights. Like, the best would genuinely fight the best. Yeah.
It would be good to have some cross promotion. I mean, I guess that's probably where we need but even if there was an Olympics, finishing my own thought, even if there was an Olympics, do you think the UFC would allow Ian Garry to go compete in the Olympics?
No, I think it would be very similar to how they do it in boxing. I think it would purely be amateur.
Yeah.
And then once you get to that point where you're a pro, you sign a contract, all the rest of it. Like, that's it. It would be, I think MMA would be a breeding ground for just people who are starting out. It'd be an amateur.
So they have basketball in the Olympics, right? Like, I don't know a lot about this, so I could be stepping on my toes a lot. They got basketball in the Olympics. Don't they have this like all-stars team or an all-American team, which are professional NBA?
They do. But I think basically the way that works is it's out of season. Right. So usually the Olympics take place in the summer when the NBA season's off.
Right. And obviously we don't have seasons in MMA. So
precisely.
Fucked it up. Okay, I'm with you.
Like, I imagine the only thing that might be a hindrance is like I said, the reason why they're never going to allow it is because if someone goes elsewhere and embarrasses themselves against somebody from another organization, or they get injured, that's affecting your product. So it's,
like the UFC is selling itself on being the gold standard of MMA. If fucking Rontang actually sleeps Sean O'Malley, suddenly one gets to.
Bro, I'm telling you now, it's funny you bring up Sean O'Malley, because do you know who the bantamweight champion is in Bellator PFL?
No.
It's a guy named Patchy Mix here. I don't know if anyone in the chat knows about Patchy Mix.
I've heard, yeah.
Patchy Mix would fuck Sean O'Malley up. I genuinely believe that. Fuck him up.
Like, Kayla Harrison would fuck Sean O'Malley up. She'd take him down and ragdoll him.
He would fuck him up. I'm telling you that there's 4 or 5 bantamweights in PFL that would give him trouble. Like genuinely.
Yeah. And this is the problem. We don't have any.
Fuck him up.
Yeah.
He would destroy him. I genuinely believe that.
Let's do some of these comments.
He's amazing.
I will. I will. Absolutely. Let's punt through some of these comments. We can keep going to like who would win out of Bellator versus PFL when they slow down. Bellator versus UFC. Chad Hero goes, hot take. I don't think Neil could have beaten Gary regardless. Neil's a great fighter, but Gary is underrated. He's an elite guy.
And I agree. I think Gary is a great fighter.
Yeah. Do you think he's underrated?
I do think he is to an extent. I do think he is. Like, I do think he's one of those guys that is a student of the game, is very good. I know he gets kicked out of gyms a lot, so he kind of doesn't have a choice, but he's been around. He clearly wants to learn, and he is improving.
Maybe going to a bunch of gyms is what's so good for him, because the guys that stay in one gym, they lack, let's say Tiger Muay Thai. They lack the wrestling, right? But AKA, you saw they had to bring in all the Dagestanis over to learn that wrestling base. So, like, going and doing a bit of percolation is good for your game, the athlete. And Ian Gary does that.
You get different training partners, you get different looks, you get different trainers. It's such a complex game now.
Yeah.
It's only going to benefit the fighter if they get to work with different people.
Yeah, true.
Most people are affiliated with certain gyms because they have to, the gym gets a percentage. There's a whole thing, but like, it can only benefit fighters that are traveling around, for sure.
Yeah, true. Let's press on. Cock Olympics loses to O'Malley in the Cock Olympics. Fair. Who do we all have for Islam versus Poirier? Islam Makhachev, Pablo. I don't think I'm going to rock the boat.
I can't believe that fight's happening.
Frankie?
I think he's gonna massacre him. I think it's gonna be fucking brutal.
Yeah. No, I don't see Islam Makhachev is Khabib 2.0. It's Khabib plus striking. And the more tools you have to win a fight, the more ways you can win a fight. And Islam can already just default and win it via wrestling. So
yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Rod Tang and Haggerty beat O'Malley. This is going on to what you were saying. Patchy Mix is the only non-UFC fighter on the pound for pound list.
This is the thing. If you go onto the Tapology unofficial rankings, right? Patchy Mix is ranked like 17th. He's ranked behind people like fucking what's that idiot with the mullet? Ricky Simon.
Right. He's below him.
He's ranked behind Ricky Simon which is stupid. Just because he's in Bellator.
And they should be non-biased. Like the fucking Tapologies and Sherdogs and Verdicts. They should be like, you should recognize that a Bellator champion is surely just in the top 5 of the UFC by default.
100%. Right, at worst, I might have been capping a little bit saying that Patchy Mix would destroy Sean O'Malley, but at worst, he's the second best bantamweight in the world right now. At worst.
You put him above Sandhagen and Merab.
The thing is, Sandhagen's a guy that I really rate as well. I would have him above both of them. I genuinely think he's on O'Malley's level, and I think like with the skill set that he's got, he'd be a big problem because he can strike, he can dust people out, but it's his submission game and his takedown game so aggressive, and he's big as well. You know how Sean O'Malley is 5'9", he says he's 5'11", but he's 5'9". Patchy Mix is legit 5'11", and he's not skinny as well.
Yeah. So how does he make the weight? God knows.
Banging Tatiana Suarez every night, I imagine. That would help.
He's got that open relationship, doesn't he?
Well, Sean O'Malley does, but Patchy mixes with Tatiana Suarez.
Oh, right. I didn't know that. Like, again, like I don't follow. It's so fucked, right? Like I would know more about One and Eternal and Cage Warriors than the second biggest organization in MMA because it's just that boring to me.
I would say you probably know more about One than I, and I watch One. You probably know more about One than I do. But like I watch everything.
Yeah.
I watch everything I can get my hands on, I'm down. Like.
Good. I mean, we wish we had the time for it, but it is what it is. But also then I do get very easily bored by boring fights. And then I get this thing of like, I could be doing productive things, but that's a whole other fucking issue. I don't rate O'Malley. Didn't beat Munoz or Yan, but rushed to turn around Aljo and Shitty Cheeto, who was just schooled by Corey. Yeah, so like his, what is it, strength of schedule isn't as good as the UFC would have us believe, Mason. But that is just, I think, the UFC's brilliant marketing machine going to work, which is like what Frankie was saying. The PFL just don't have that. Like they can't trick. Like you see it, Mason. You're not a casual. You're like, hang on, O'Malley's strength of schedule is not as fucking good as the UFC is telling us. But the regular like sports bar, sports goer doesn't see that. And that is, to Frankie's point about why PFL will never be as good as the UFC, is the problem. They can't push out that guy at a pub watching the TV, Durkadur, that's the UFC champion.
Can I ask you a quick question just as a sidebar? If Sandhagen and O'Malley fought next, who do you think would win that fight?
Sandhagen and O'Malley fought. I think Sandhagen would win via wrestling. I think he would go with the wrestling. You know, Sandhagen's one of those fighters now, much like Moicano is becoming, where they're just there to win now. They're taking their career super fucking seriously.
Yeah.
And with even so, if Piotr Jan and O'Malley were to fight right now, who do you think would win that?
I think it would be close. Because I think the thing is with Piotr is he's got like clear. He does have some holes to this game that have been exposed. I think Piotr Jan would have a harder time against Corey than he would against a rematch of O'Malley. Again, because it's the wrestling. Because Corey's got everything. He's got the range. And the thing is that Corey wasn't a wrestler before he fought Aljo. He's kind of added that to his game over the last few years. And he's become elite at it now. Like stuff he's doing. I think he's the best bantamweight potentially in the UFC, but they don't want him as champion.
No, because he's not Sean O'Malley. He hasn't got the fucking look, the TikTok,
the cucking
look.
Yeah, you know.
The cuck. He hasn't got the best base in MMA.
Yeah. 100%.
All right, let's roll on to some of these. Let's smash some of these out. Thanks for joining the chat, everyone, guys. Thanks for joining the chat.
Yeah, much appreciated. I love it.
Good fun. It's weird how they will take some fighters, like you're saying, they won't take Sandhagen, probably because of the wrestling and the personality. But they will take Leon Edwards. They'll push Colby Covington. And maybe Leon Edwards and Colby Covington aren't the same example because at least Colby's got a personality. But they'll take Leon Edwards.
Well, the reason why they push Leon Edwards is they want that UK market. The UK market has a massive MMA fan base generally. They are big fight fans. So there's benefits to it. It's like why they push Mexican fighters and stuff as well, and Brazilian fighters. And
do they push Mexicans?
Just a
Get
tad.
out of here.
Just a tad.
Wait, you mean when you go to the UFC rankings on UFC.com, Espinoza is the only one with her own custom belt? No one else gets one for some reason?
Bizarre, isn't it?
I don't believe you. I don't believe you, Frankie.
Yeah, I'm talking about my ass again. Can't help it. Yeah.
Yeah. But so they've sort of got Tom Aspinall now, though, as that UK back pocket.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why you're probably going to see Leon get faded pretty soon.
Yeah.
They're gonna put him in. They're probably trying to convince him to fight either Islam or Shavkat. Which will be, they're going to set him up to lose soon. They've had their use for him and they're going to try and get rid of him.
Yeah, which is funny because the use for him was not even one proper defense.
No.
It was, your use is Colby Covington bouncing off you.
Which, I don't know, it kind of worked to an extent, I guess.
So. I mean, Colby, I lost a lot of respect for Colby on that weekend. He was just so, he just, I don't understand. I really don't understand not trying. Like, again, what pissed me off so much about Aljo, what pissed me off so much about Jeff Neal, I do not understand not trying in the cage. Maybe it's the I don't want to get slept. But I would assume after being a cage fighter for more than 10 years, that part of your brain that's I don't want to get slept, you would have that under control by now.
Yeah, do you know what I think it was? I think when when he was talking shit to Usman, Usman didn't really get that mad. When he said that shit about Leon's dad and Leon flipped, you could see he shit his pants.
Yeah.
He was literally like, "Oh shit, I've gone too far here." And
Yeah,
this
I'm
guy
gonna get hurt.
genuinely wants to kill me. Whereas like with Usman, it was more like Usman never really. Do you know what I mean? He
Usman
never
doesn't give
really
you much. He's a very calm character.
No, and with Masvidal was washed, but also he's fought with Masvidal so many times. He knew if I do this, I'm going to beat him.
Yeah, he's his training partner for years. Like
He knows exactly how to deal with
felt it in the gym. Yeah,
and Masvidal knew it as well. It wasn't like a, I think, and which is why Masvidal was trying to get him to, or maybe I can get him to strike with me, and that's how I'll have a chance. Which is why the whole which is why you kept calling him a nut hugger for like every opportunity he got. He's like, maybe I can shame him into trying to strike with me, and then we'll see.
And it didn't work.
More
fucking crotch sniffing. Doug, you should tune in for the Patchy mixed fights. Top 3 bantamweights in the world. All right, I will. Now that bad math, Frankie, hassle me next time Patchy fights.
He's incredible. Look, all you got to do is jump on YouTube and see his knockout of Rufion Stotts. Fucking brutal.
Yeah. And I'll be a fan straight away.
He's amazing. He really is good.
Usman was a great champion. Is Usman sort of being underrated or like was Usman underappreciated? Let's say that. Was Usman underappreciated?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I used to rag on him all the time when he was champion. I don't know why. I kind of liked him once he lost the belt, or when it was kind of near to that kind of. I kind of liked it. I don't know what it was. I only appreciated him for sure after he lost the belt. That was my personal.
Yeah, he was my dad's favorite fighter. It was my dad's favorite fighter. Like back when me and my dad.
I've never heard anyone say Usman's my favorite fighter.
It was my dad's favorite. My dad loved like the way that he would come into the ring with the gorilla walk and then call him the nightmare and then just fucking sleep people. My dad was like, that guy is a fucking nightmare.
Yeah. And he was reasonably entertaining to watch. So I mean, he didn't like Woodley his way through title defenses.
Oh, dude, he was so refreshing after Woodley. He was so refreshing after. I, for once, back in the early days, actually got a watch party together where we were at a mate's place on an island drinking on the Saturday night. And it was Woodley versus Wonderboy was on the next day. And all the boys were around for this big weekend. And I was like, finally, I'm going to get them into MMA.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell, mate.
How many times I've tried to do that and I've just fucked it. I've tried to get boxing fans to go, this is the one. And then we've just had like one of the ones I tried to do it with was Derek Lewis and Francis Ngannou. I was like, there's no way this is gonna fail. They're gonna fuck each other up.
Yeah, this is gonna be blood.
I'm never watching this again, you fucking retard, was what I got. Like, it was brutal.
That's the worst feeling, man. When you try and bring people into the sport, and you're like, I've lost my opportunity.
I'm trying to help out here, and I just get shut down by this. Yeah. It always happens. I've given up.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's the thing. Like now there's no point in being like, come around and watch it. Now it's just, I'm going to watch it. If you want to hang out with me, this is where I'm going to be on Sunday. Which like being a fucking 35-year-old male, it's very rare that someone's like, oh yeah, on Sunday. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I want to come around to your house and watch a sport.
I'm still so envious of your start times though. I think it's just incredible that you can wake up at 9 o'clock in the morning and be like, right, prelims are starting.
It's beautiful. It's the best. I don't know. Like the fact that the UK might have one of the biggest MMA fan bases in the world, right? You got the UK, you got France, obviously, and Brazil. So let's just take Europe, right? It's got one of the biggest MMA fan bases in the world, and your time zones
brutal, mate.
Are fucking horrific, man.
It's brutal.
Fucking horrific.
It's horrible. It is.
Shout out to the European fans.
It's horrible.
So, Dougie, how you going? Welcome, man. Chat says,
I couldn't see your chats here because again, amateur hour. I was clicked on the wrong. I was clicked on private chat and not on comments. I was like, I can't see his comments. I'm like, all right, learning. We're learning.
We're learning. Look, if you see, don't let me just take the lead. Like, if you see a comment and you're like, I want to talk about that.
I've only just literally clicked on them now because I was waiting for them to appear on your screen up here. I'm like, no, I can actually see
on this one. Whatever. We're getting through it.
We're getting there. We're learning as we go.
Yeah.
It's all good.
Chad Harris says the only person I see beating Leon right now is Shavkat, and that's close. Even though he's not the most fun, he's still top 3 pound for pound elite. The only person you see, really, man. I look. I might be biased. But with counter strikers like Leon, generally, and I'll bring up Sean Strickland and Ian Gary, Jeff Neal as well. When you press them, you do have a lot of success against them. So my boy JDM, I think he's got a red hot chance. Just saying.
Do you know what the problem with JDM for me is? Like, he's exciting to watch. The guy is like a turtle on his back when he gets taken down.
Not since the Bilal fight. He was like a turtle on his back. But I think he recognized that he's going down the Dustin Poirier path of always throwing the guillotine and has been working on that.
He needs to, because I think it was, when he fought Hafez, Basil Hafez, and he just, the thing is, JDM's takedown defense is amazing.
But once he was on the ground,
once you get him down, he's fucked. You can't get back up.
He was that. But I think he recognized that. I think we saw that growth in him.
He's probably going to be the one. He's the one who's probably going to be fighting Shavkat next.
Yeah, I know. Fuck.
Aren't you nervous?
Why? Yeah, obviously. But no, I mean, no. All Aussies win all the time. Even Jack Jenkins. When they lose, they win.
Yeah, my bad. Yeah, for real. I think the confidence.
Well, go on.
No, Bilal is a bad matchup for a lot of guys, but not Shavkat. No, Shavkat would ruin him. Definitely. Ruin him. Shavkat ruins pretty much everyone. I think the fight with Leon would be close. I think he'd be. Shavkat's one of my guys.
Do you think, since Shavkat's one of your guys, let me get my pen back. Do you think that Shavkat? Fuck you. Do you think that Shavkat struggling to take Wonderboy down shows that, there's levels to this shit? And Shavkat can run through the bottom feeders underneath the top 10. But now that he's in that elite level, his takedowns might not be what we thought they were.
No, because if you think about it, Wonderboy's never been submitted. And his takedown defense is actually all right. It's much Wonderboy's takedown defense is underrated because he was always seen as the one guy in the division who that's what you do. You do that to him. And he's been working on it for a long time. Like, you just take him down. But the thing is, when you get him down, he's very hard to finish down there.
Yeah, so it's more of a case of Wonderboy's takedown defense is underrated rather than Shavkat's takedowns being over. Okay.
And he choked him out. He submitted him.
No, he did do it, but it wasn't as, I guess, because the narrative is beat Wonderboy, just fucking take him down, mate. You were all right.
Take him down, that's it. But not a lot of people can do it. And that's the thing. It's like with Shavkat's amazing to me because like I said, he's not just undefeated. He's never not finished a fight.
Yeah.
Right.
He's like,
but also he's also smart because he was like somebody who's stupid would have gone in there and gone, do you know what? I'm going to chat it out. I'm going to strike with Wonderboy, and he would have got fucked up probably.
Are you calling Kevin Holland stupid?
I don't want to go that far. He is though. He is.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Fuck. Kevin Holland could have beaten JDM.
Could have. That was a close fight as well.
That's what I'm saying. It was a close fight, but it feels like one of those fights where, like, if you just given it 10% more, you would have got the win. Like Strickland against DDP. If you had just given it,
push that a little bit more.
Just go balls deep. Go right in. You'll finish.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. Can I ask you a quick question as a sidebar while we this is a bit of a sidebar, but just to talk about some of the fights that were announced recently.
Yeah, go nuts.
So we had two that have come up. We've got Hill and Khalil Roundtree. What do you think of that one?
I think it's too early for Hill.
You think it's too early for Hill? Interesting.
Shall I expand?
Please elaborate.
Yes. I mean, it's a fucking podcast. We should talk.
Yeah,
why else we're here? I think
Hill. Move on. No, I want to know why.
Yeah, and move on. I think Hill, number one, his ego is massive, right? So the quick turnaround. Now that fight is booked for 302 or 303. Like it's in 2 or 3 months, right?
I think it's 302. Maybe I'm wrong.
It's in 2 months. He's coming off a devastating knockout to Poatan. Already sort of coming off a bit rushed from the ankle injury, right? Like people like that ankle injury takes a year. You got 8 months. Then you come in, big ego, get knocked out. Now you're coming in 2 months later. It seems very, I was the champion. I got injured. I got to get back in there. I got knocked out. Now I'm injured. I got to get back in there.
It is 303. Sorry, just to interrupt for a second. It's 303.
No, you're all good. Yeah. But still, like, I think after a knockout like that, coming off an injury with an ego like that, I would like to see 6 months off to resettle, go home for a month. Jamal Hill, get fat, lose the weight, heal up, come back, start again. I think he is trying to ego chase. Yeah.
Interesting.
What do you think?
I think he's going to fuck him up. I think Hill's going to fuck him up.
Completely different.
I think Khalil Roundtree is fucking shit.
Yeah.
I really do. I think he's so one-dimensional. That's why Jamal Hill's taking this fight.
Right.
Because what would have happened is, because again, we made a breakdown of this on my channel as well, and it was like, we felt that the best fight that Jamal Hill was going to have to take would be to fight Yuri.
Yeah.
And that would have been a stupid fight to take.
Yeah, that would have been to what I was saying, like, that will fucking hurt him even more.
Yeah, if he was getting in there 3 months against Yuri, I'd have been like, ooh. But Khalil Roundtree is very one-dimensional, and he's got no gas tank. He's not. I mean, his striking's okay, but he's got one power
3-round fight.
Yeah.
Chad Hero completely agrees.
It's going to be 3 rounds, I imagine.
It's not going to be a main event, and it's not big enough. To what you were saying, it's not a number one contender fight. Like, it's not big enough to be that co-main 5-round fight.
No.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to that coming off a loss, like picking someone who you think you've got a very good chance of beating, or who
he's
is
a way better striker than Khalil. Khalil's got basically, he's good from one side, and that's all he's got.
Yeah. And Jamal's very creative.
Khalil Roundtree. This is the same Khalil Roundtree who got flatline KO'd by Johnny Walker.
I mean, Johnny Walker's a 50-50 fighter.
Johnny Walker's an idiot.
That doesn't not make him a 50-50
and he's got no chin. If you're losing to Johnny Walker after all the fights you've seen of his, if you're losing to that guy, you are brain dead.
Or just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because the thing with Johnny Walker is he will throw wild strikes, and that's if one of them land, he's so rangy and throws such wild strikes from weird angles. If one of them land, they will sleep you.
Yeah, I mean, I can subscribe to that. I think that he'll like, again. I've got Making the Walk in the channel now, who's also he's the guy that I collab with on a lot of my
yeah.
And he's a big advocate for our boy Khalil.
Okay,
this is a great fight. There was a point when he was saying he should be fighting Alex Pereira.
Oh no!
After he beat, and
I guess lightweight is so dead. Really? It's very top heavy.
5 are good, and then the rest are trash. Let me know.
Pretty much. Yeah, light heavyweight and heavyweight are pretty much the same division. You've got 4-5 guys, and then there is no fucking division. Don't tell Anthony Smith that, because he will get in here somehow. He will fly to Australia and get in here and beat the fuck out of me. But fuck Anthony Smith.
He'll probably decision on his front porch.
On paper, he's a better fighter than me.
I don't know. I'd give you a reasonable chance to. I mean, if a 5'7" crackhead can turn up and go 9 minutes of him, I think he might be right.
That's true.
What
was the second fight that you wanted to talk about? The other one that was announced?
Yeah, it was announced today. Bo Nickel and Jacob Malkoon.
Bo Nickel and Jacob Malkoon. Jacob Malkoon is one of those fighters where the name rings a bell, but it doesn't activate anything in my marbles.
he fought quite recently. So he ironically he fought Cody Brundage before.
Oh yeah.
And was whooping his ass, and then got DQ'd because he kneed him in the head while he had his hand grounded or something, and Cody pretended to be fucked.
Yes.
And yeah.
Bo Nickel. Was it Joe Fiver or Bo Nickel?
Bo Nickel.
Bo Nickel.
Yeah, Bo Nickel's apparently fighting Jacob Malkoun next.
I don't see that as anything interesting for Bo Nickel.
Well, it's interesting.
I don't see that.
Well, I thought Bo Nickel's performance at UFC 300 was terrible.
Yeah, but I don't see Jacob Malkoun as a step up.
Bad.
I think it's like the same level. Do you know what I mean? Like it's the same level of fight. It feels like we're doing that Cody Brundage fight again with Jacob Malkoun.
Well, Jacob Malkoun's better. Like Jacob Malkoun, based on what I saw from 300, I reckon Jacob Malkoun will do a better job.
Yeah, but it still doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't give me the fizz in any way at all. You know, I think probably because they keep telling us, again to go back to like the UFC's hype machine. They keep telling us he's phenomenal, but every time we see him, like at 300, it's like, okay, but where is the phenomenon? Where is this? Where is this brilliance?
It's overhyped, isn't it?
Yeah, it's overhyped. It's overhyped. So when I see this Jacob Malkoun, like again, you know, I go through the roster and like the fight recall in my head, and I'm not getting any like big moments that sort of. So I got a fighter who I'm not getting big moments from in Bo Nickel, and then I'm getting Jacob Malkoun who I'm not getting big moments for. And I'm just like, it doesn't push me.
I think like it's a reasonable step up for where Bo Nickel is, because you can't really put him against another complete bum, because people are going to be like, he's going to get the Sean O'Malley thing of your baby in him. Because people who are hardcores of MMA, they know Jacob Malkoun's actually he'll be hands down the best fighter that Bo Nickel's fought. If you put Bo Nickel in with somebody, anyone in the top 15 now, he gets embarrassed.
He'll get embarrassed, and they don't want that.
And they don't want that.
So they should do something like this fight, the Jacob Malkoun fight, where the hardcores respect the fuck out of the fight. They know it's a step up. Put it on the prelims of a pay-per-view, for fuck's sake. Do not put it on a fucking pay-per-view. Put it on a fight card that we're all going to watch, not an Apex card, a fight card that we're all going to watch. We're going to sit down and watch the prelims. Maybe headline the early prelims on ESPN. I know they won't want to do that for Bo Nickel, but it's sort of that range of fight. And then if he does perform against Jacob Malkoun and do a good job, then you've got a decent thing to get behind. And it's got to be performed, not just win, but like
you've got to start him, which could be interesting. It's like what Anton said here. He said if Nickel's fighting Malkoun, it needs to be on the appropriate card at the appropriate place on the card. So it needs to be, it's like you said, a prelim. I wouldn't mind a prelim headliner. He should not be on the main card until he's ready, because you're doing him a disservice as well. Because it's like, if Bo Nickel's getting put on a main card, he's not going to be like, no, I don't want to be. This is on the UFC.
No. Yeah, and his paycheck must be more for being on the main card.
Yeah, I agree. It's interesting.
No, all right. Yeah. But I mean, I guess my brain is just saying Bo Nickel by decision.
Yeah, probably. Because Jacob Malkoun is good. I think Jacob Malkoun's going to surprise some people. He's good.
I'll go back. Like, how do you prepare for fight cards? Like, do you go back and watch the fighters again, like on Fight Pass? Because like now that it gets announced, like it's going to be one of those things on my playlist that I'm going to go back and watch.
No, I do, because I do a breakdown with Antoine at Making the Walk every week. We do like a full breakdown of every card, prelims to the end. Yeah, and we usually shout at each other quite a lot.
Good.
It gets quite brutal when we disagree. But so usually part of that process is the first thing I'll do tomorrow is I'll watch every fighter on the card, their last 3 fights, or whatever I can get my hands on. People that I don't know, so that I can give like an informed opinion. You know. So I will be doing that, but like, cause I don't even know who's on next week's card. I've got no idea.
Yeah, I've started looking at it and watching. I got a new favorite fighter out of next week's card. Where is next week's card?
Who's that?
He's fucking. His name is escaping me right now because I got a screen in front of me and I'm live streaming. And once I see the name, I'll be like, that guy. Is it Dumbe? No. Hang on, 1 second.
I think Dougie.
Where's next week's card? Let's bring it up.
It is the main event between Nicolau and Perez, which is, by the way, a total dud.
Yes.
Nobody wants to see that shit, but it is what it is.
Fucking
it's
Perez.
Not a great card.
Fucking Perez, he's done. David Onama. I went back and watched like 3 or 4 fights of David Onama in a row. And I was just like, I was loving every single one. I was like, David Onama's on the fucking list, mate. He's on the list. The kid comes out, right? Do you is it bringing up any past fights?
No, again, I know David Onama quite well because he had a fight with who's that crazy dude? The one who's Nate the Train. He had a fight with Nate the Train.
Yeah.
And he looked really great in that first round. He was beating the tar out of him, and then he gassed. And then Nate the Train took over and beat him up a bit. But no, he's good. Apparently his issue is cardio. That's the main thing. Very technical.
Yes.
But it's the cardio he's got the issue with.
Well, he doesn't pace himself, which is probably why I was so excited when I started going back and rewatching his fights. Because I was like, oh, I see a pattern here. Yeah, I see a pattern here.
Very fun to watch. And he could be good if he's like, because apparently there's a lot of stories about him not working as hard in the gym as he could. In terms of the cardio, just to put in the rounds in and do all that kind of stuff. But apparently he's taking things a little bit more seriously now. So
nice.
We'll see.
But I don't need to think a fighter is going to be a champion for them to make it onto one of my favorite fighters lists. I want entertainment. And then like if they become a champion,
great.
Like Gaethje. Gaethje was this close to becoming a champion through entertainment.
Yeah. You're right. Not everyone's going to make it that far. Not everyone's going to get anywhere near that far. So
yeah. And even if Onama doesn't crack the top 5, doesn't matter. As long as I know like Onama's on this card, Nate the Train's on this card, Trevor Peek is on this card, I'm going to have a good time. Yeah.
Yeah, there's guys that are always going to provide that excitement. It doesn't matter how far they get. It's fine.
Yeah. Chat Hero's throwing one up. Doug, this one's for you. Thanks, Chat Hero. JDM's great, but he has one range, boxing range. Yep. And someone with mediocre footwork like Hafez was able to survive him. Leon will outstrike him. Yeah. I mean, I think the issue with JDM is because he is so boxing heavy, there are so many other tools in MMA to use around that and break that. Boxers need to set up a rhythm. They need to establish their jab and then start working their combinations. And in good MMA, when you've got good fight IQ, it's the leg kicks and the takedowns and the circling the cage and the throwing in an elbow that sort of breaks that boxer's rhythm.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I agree with that. And what you get with JDM, like JDM, what I love about JDM the most is the pressure he puts forward, the combinations. I love his body work as well. The way he rips to the body is sensational. But I agree with Chad. I think that Leon is a more technical, diverse striker than JDM is, and I think he's going to have. I think JDM ironically has a better chance against Shavkat than he does against Leon, but I think Shavkat would beat Leon. So again, we're doing that weird like triangle thing.
Paper scissors rock. Yeah.
You say rock paper scissors. I go. I'm thinking like triangle because I'm weird. So.
It's the styles make fights, right? If we were going to make like a MMA card game, if we were going to make a Pokemon trading card game of MMA fighters, it's the styles make
fights. And the other one would be fire and I don't know how it works. It's elements. Yeah.
I thought you had kids, mate.
I tried. Yeah.
I tried. You had to go. Regardless of who wins, the winner should fight Yuri. 2 out of 3 of my favorite lightweights. Yuri Hill Khalil will fight violent men. One of the good things, Chad, here about a division being so top heavy like that is you do get to see the matchups you want to see in a division. People complain about lightweight having the same top 5 guys fight each other all the time. But it does make for, like we were just saying before in the last little thread, you're going to have an entertaining mix because these top 5 guys do make that triangle, paper, scissors, rock, and they are constantly circling each other to make fun fights.
Yeah, they do. They do. I think you're right, though. I don't think I'm very, very confident that Khalil's going to get battered, and I think we'll get Yuri and Hill was the one that I was really campaigning for. I think that would be a great fight.
Yuri versus Hill. Yeah, I think that fight. I mean, if if Hill wins, I think that fight should happen. I kind of am still a little bit. It's weird. I thought Hill was going to beat Pereira, but now that I've seen it, I've gone back to my previous thinking of Jamal Hill was sort of rushed to the title, and he didn't have that time to percolate in the top 5 that a fighter really needs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he is as good as everyone's making him out to be, because he just didn't have that time there in that crucible of madness that is a top 5.
Yeah, I'm wondering that myself a bit, to be honest. And that's why I kind of want to see him against Yuri, because it kind of puts Yuri in a weird spot now, because who does he fight?
Yeah. That's question's been going around a bit.
Should be Ankalaev.
Well, Ankalaev should be fighting Pereira.
Well, this is the thing. I again, we talked about this as well. I don't think he deserves it.
You don't think he deserves it?
No.
He fought for a title and it was drawn.
Well, no, this is what I'm saying. I'm going to get into that. Yeah. So basically, here's the thing.
Okay.
Right?
Grab a pencil.
Yeah. Let's start getting the notes down. So
get a pencil.
Before he fought Yan, I don't think he really beat anyone that good. So his CV before then was not great. And then he fights Yan, which is, I mean, a lot of people think that Ankalaev won. I personally thought that Yan won 3 rounds, but the point is, it was a close fight. And when it was called a draw, I wasn't like, oh, that's a robbery. I thought, nah, I can see the draw in that one. And if you draw, that doesn't get you the belt. And then he goes and fights Johnny Walker and should have got DQ'd. Like, he need him in the face. He should have got DQ'd in that fight. And then he gets to fight the same guy again. And I've said this on my own channel multiple times. Beating Johnny Walker should not get you a title shot.
No, but not losing a title shot.
But the thing is, I'm not saying that he doesn't deserve one down the line, but I think he should be fighting one more, because he's whined and complained. He didn't fight for a year. He then should have got the cue against Johnny Walker. Then, all right, he beat him, but it's Johnny Walker. How many people have chinned Johnny Walker?
Yeah, he's
not that much of an achievement. It's not that much of an achievement.
So one more fight for a top contender. For a number one contender.
Yeah, I said this, I literally released this video today. I said that Alex Pereira should go and fight Tom Aspinall, and Ankalaev should fight. Well, now that we know that Yuri's not fighting Hill, Yuri should fight Ankalaev, and then the winner's clear.
Do you think a champion should take some time off until a number one contender comes forward, or a champion should just stay active and fight whoever's available?
It depends on the situation. It's like, so we talked about this a little bit as well. It was like, for me, the Alex situation is kind of unique, because he's obviously he's beat everyone in the top 5 convincingly, apart from he hasn't fought Ankalaev yet. And he's got a unique opportunity now where, again, he headlined 300, looked incredible. He's got the opportunity to basically have a legacy fight that would put him, it would raise his stock to levels that we've never seen. He could potentially be a free weight world champion, and he has the right to ask for that now.
Of one defense?
Well, he's fought. So he fought Yan, who was a former champion.
He fought Yan, who was a former champion.
Won. He won. So that was the title eliminator, effectively. Then he starches out Jiri. He starches out Jiri, who hadn't lost in 20 fights. Jiri.
Early stoppage?
Jiri's beat everyone else. And now he starched out Hill, who'd only lost 1 fight. Now, Ankalaev has only beat Johnny Walker. Who else did he beat? He lost to fucking Paul Craig.
How good is Paul Craig, really? So to me, the Yuri Prohaska fight was an early stoppage.
What would against Alex?
Yes.
I don't think that's ridiculous.
So if he's gonna move up and fight Aspinall, I would love to see a Prohaska Alex Pereira rematch before that happens. I think that
okay, I would go for that before I'd go for Ankalaev. In my opinion, Yuri's more deserving to have a rematch than Ankalaev is to get a shot.
I agree with that.
In my
I agree
opinion.
with that. So then it should be Ankalaev versus Jamal Hill in Abu Dhabi. That should be.
That's why I think, because we're circling back perfectly. That's why Jamal Hill has taken Roundtree, because he's thinking to himself, "Fuck me, I'm gonna have to go back in there as soon as possible. I want to get this taste out of my mouth, where I just got starched in the biggest card of all time, and I can do it against either Yuri, that's a very hard fight, or I can do it against Ankalaev, who could just take me down, or I can go in against Roundtree, who I know is not that good, but everyone seems to think is really good.
Yeah,
and then
takes me out of the mix for 6 months,
and then I get back in.
Like you book a fight in 2 months' time. See what happens during that fight. You got another 3 months up your sleeve.
It's because he knows it or thinks in his head at least that he can smash it. Whereas with the
other two,
I don't know. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. So who does Ankalaev fight then?
Yuri
Prohaska, yeah.
Yeah.
I want Yuri Prohaska to fight Alex Pereira.
I mean, I'll take that as well.
Yeah.
But the thing is that he's not going to get that just based off beating Rakic. That's the problem.
Where does Rakic go?
I said that Rakic should fight somebody like Krylov, or I thought they were going to match Rakic and Roundtree. This whole thing
thought they should fight. I know. I'm looking at it now, and I'm like, I'm seeing Johnny Walker's name pop out, coming off a loss. Rakic coming off a loss, and as like I see that as a free win for Rakic.
Johnny Walker's got is Johnny Walker fighting Rakic? Who's Johnny Walker fighting? I swear he's booked as well.
Is he booked? He might be booked.
I think Johnny Walker is booked. I'm typing in Johnny Walker, and obviously I'm getting the whiskey. This is unhelpful. Let me just.
Volkan Oezdemir.
There you go.
Volkan Oezdemir. Yeah. So he's booked up as well. Yeah, I can see why Jamal Hill has just gone and taken himself out of the pool now. When you actually look at light heavyweight all over, I can see what he's done there. So
it's a smart move because everyone thinks Khalil's really, really good, and I don't think he's that good.
Yeah. Yeah, nice.
I get it. As a move, I get it. It's sneaky, but I get it.
Yeah. Doe State, what's good? You're watching Haney Garcia? No. Well, no, I'm not. Bad math isn't.
I'm gonna watch it if I can stay awake that long, because we're still like 3 hours away from that shit, I think, minimum.
Yeah, we are. We've got an hour and a half. How long do you want to go for? We didn't plan shit. We just said we'd go live and see what would happen.
Want to go, mate? People are entertained. I'm good because I haven't got anything else planned, so I'm good. I'm
all right.
I'm unemployed. I can do what I want.
You're fun employed. Let's push for another half an hour and see what happens. Let's push for another half an hour and see what happens. All right, Mama says good live. What else can we go off?
There were a couple of so yeah, we've done the I wanted to ask you what you think of Max Holloway's ranking at number 9 at lightweight.
Was this the pound for pound number 9 or lightweight number 9?
Yeah, lightweight number 9. What do you think?
I think that's dog shit. I think that's absolutely dog shit. I don't understand how you can beat the guy. There's this narrative at lightweight of you beat the man who beats the man. You know, when Gaethje head kicked Holloway. Not when Gaethje head kicked Holloway. When Gaethje head kicked Poirier.
Mm-hmm.
If Max Holloway sleeps Gaethje the way that he did, how the fuck can he be number 9? I think it's the UFC trying to keep Max Holloway out of the title picture at lightweight because the lightweight is so jam-packed at the top. It really fucking threw a spanner in their works. And it goes to show that when the UFC say, that the rankings are done by a third party, it's done by 1993 FM Honolulu, that is dog shit. The UFC does make the rankings.
You know, there's no way that if people were voting, like all the media members were, and it was done fairly, that they would put. I think it's very simple. If you beat the guy who's number 2, you should be number 2.
Well, look what happened with Tai Tuivasa when he knocked out Derek Lewis. He went from number 11 or something off the top of my head. He went from outside of the top 10
I think he was
to
13,
number
14.
3.
Yeah, which is the way it should be. If you beat
Absolutely.
the guy, you take his number. That's the whole point.
Yeah, I know. I feel like, again, this is where the UFC is an entertainment company and the PFL is a meritocracy, and the PFL could do something brilliant by showing how a meritocracy truly works. If this was in the PFL, if this fight had happened in the PFL, Max Holloway would be the next one booked in, ready to go, without question. It'd be the next one booked in, ready to go. But unfortunately, the UFC matchmakers have sort of shown us, the audience that watches this closely, the rankings are bullshit.
They are. They're pointless, really.
And they've also shown us what they're planning to do next. You know, like I made that video of Max Holloway can call his shot and point his finger in any direction that he wants. And they have told us, the fans, hold the fuck up. Max Holloway is not calling his shot wherever he wants to go. I do think they want to see what happens with McGregor and Chandler. I do think they want to see what happens with McGregor and Chandler.
Yeah. I'm surprised they didn't do that at 165. Just say fuck it. I'm surprised they didn't do that.
Me too. But again, I think the UFC, I imagine that in the war room at the UFC, they have a whole bunch of options in front of them. And they go, if this, because, you know, at the end of the day, a fight can only go in two ways. One guy's going to win, one guy's going to lose. So it's not that hard to come up with an A plan and a B plan.
No.
I think they got a whole bunch of options. Conor McGregor's coming back at a weight class that he is more familiar with than Chandler is.
Oh, yeah.
He said when this fight was going to happen. Chandler has been reading Twitter every day, the same as you and I, and basing all of his plans off that.
Yeah.
Everything is set up for Conor McGregor to win this fight, and the UFC know that. So they're probably just, everyone hold the fuck up. Things could get real fucking spicy real fucking soon.
Yeah. And I think they want it to go that well, but I'm wondering if they do if McGregor wins that fight, if they try to push him at 170. Because I don't think a fight with Makhachev would be very competitive, and I think they know that. It would just be round two.
They're just or Max Holloway BMF. Max Holloway BMF.
That would be interesting.
Who's champ at 170?
Rematch. I take that.
Do you really want Conor McGregor going in there against Shavkat?
They wouldn't do that. They do him and Leon, if anything.
What happens if Leon's not still champ?
Then you don't do it.
Then you don't do it. So it's very like,
there's a lot of stuff open. Yeah.
Let's get Conor in there. Let's get Conor a win. Even if Conor loses that fight against Chandler, you've still got Holloway with the BMF.
Yeah. And this is what Anton was saying as well. He was like, Holloway winning should have opened up every avenue for him. It should have been, I can go to 145 and fight for the belt, or I can go to 145 and do a BMF fight, or I can go to 155 and fight for the belt, or I can go to 155 and fight a BMF. He should have been able to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, but he's almost gotten to that point. And the UFC stars have this problem being locked into the UFC where they become victims of success. They get too much, they get too valuable to the company. And then all of a sudden the company just...
Go slow down there, buddy.
Hang on. We got storylines that got to play out. We got to sell pay-per-views up to 2026. We can't have you go and blow your load every fucking weekend all over the cards.
Yeah. Well, we don't have to worry about that for the next few weeks.
Again, I don't watch the Apex like I'm watching UFC. I watch the Apex like I'm watching amateur UFC. Like I see it as Contender Series Episode 2 is what I see at an Apex card. Building. Yeah. They're just building.
Yeah. And I guess it's something that we get to watch every week. And again, it's like I feel like the Apex is like an audition place. You know, you get somebody who might come on and do something, and then you're like, all right, we can stick him on the main card next time in a pay-per-view. Yeah. Or we'll stick him in the prelims on the pay-per-view, and it feels like that.
Well, I mean, look, now we can be excited about Talbot, right? And Talbot's been percolating over in the Apex. It's perfect environment for those people. Holland percolated in the Apex, and now Holland's when they put Tai Tuivasa in the Apex, I was like, that's career over. Because Tai Tuivasa is not an Apex fighter.
No, he needs that crowd. He needs it. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
And
that just shows like they're done with Tai. They're done with him. Tai should go do boxing.
Yeah, he's done. Poor Tai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Conor versus Chandler. Let's answer the most casual question ever. Who do you got in that fight?
against what with McGregor and Chandler.
McGregor and Chandler. Yeah, the fight on everyone's lips in every pub.
Yeah, I think McGregor's going to starch him.
Yeah, nice. That's exactly what I think. Yeah,
and it's going to be brutal and easy. Like his style is tailor made for McGregor.
The
Short,
Russian,
stocky, and dumb. The triple free, the perfect McGregor. It's Eddie Alvarez all over again, but like just somehow Chandler is dumber than Eddie Alvarez, which is perfect.
Yeah,
it's gonna be great.
So then let's play that through, right? Conor starches Chandler. The UFC are now in this era of giving cunts title fights just because they have a good name. Cheeto Vera against Sean O'Malley. Does Islam Makhachev's team say yes to that fight, considering the history? Yes.
100%. But really? I don't think they do it though. I think I think McGregor, again, you could put him against, you could do BMF with Max, like you said. You could do, if he loses, the thing is that there's so many options you could do with McGregor, it's insane. Like, Oliveira's a very big draw. You could do that. You could do Gaethje. You could do, because they've got a history, you could do, again, the Max fight for the BMF would be, because you're technically getting him in for a title fight again. Yeah. Which would be acceptable, because it wouldn't, because I think even most fans would be, if he beats Chandler and you stick him in against Makhachev, people are going to be like, what the fuck? He's just lost to Poirier, twice? He's looked terrible. He's been off for ages. You're taking the piss. If you put him in there with the BMF, it's like, it's not really a real belt, but you can make it look like it is. Or feel like
they've been doing.
Exactly.
Yeah. And also, when you're in there as the BMF champion, they can handpick your opponents easier.
And you can do it at any weight class. It doesn't affect anything. Conor could be like Max, come up to welterweight, where he's probably got more of an advantage because of his frame. Yeah, you could do that.
There are so many I think that's the direction they're going to go in.
Yeah. I think so as well. I think it'll be. I think again, it was Anton who brought this to my, because I didn't really think it through in the same way. But he was like, "Yeah, I think that's what they're going to try to set up. It would be like Max and." What do you think Max should do next?
Max Holloway? I think he should sit there with his money and wait to see as well. I think he got over $500,000 in bonuses. Yeah. He's the number one contender in any direction he wants. I think he should sit back and wait as well, which hurts me. I don't think Max is that kind of guy. I think Max is the kind of guy that jumps on opportunities.
Do you think he fights
Ilya? Yes, I do think he fights Ilya. It's just when. I mean, Conor's fight, it's soon. You know, it's in 3 months.
Yeah. It's not that much of a wait. So
no, it's not that much of a wait. It's not that much to just hold on. And I think what they're doing with Ilya Topuria is, if they can get him in Spain with Volkanovski, that's essentially, it just kills me to say it, it's essentially a free win for Topuria. So you get your new champion on another pay-per-view surrounded by cheering fans, and it becomes easier for that Durkadur, I'm at a pub watching the fights sports fan to see the champion on a pay-per-view again, to introduce him to the casuals again a little bit more. You don't want to do that with Ilya Topuria versus Max Holloway right now. You want to build Ilya Topuria up just a little bit more. So chuck him in there with Volkanovski to get his bloody head kicked in again, mate. And there you go. You got the champion for another 8 months. Yeah. So I think that we're in a whole.
It is. It's weird. I feel like we've got more questions than we got answered after 300, and with all the matchups that they've now made, it's like it's become more of a mess. Yeah, I think Max should stay at 155 though.
Yeah. Why not? It's almost like he's got his 145 legacy secured. Yeah. So stay there. Like, leave that there as a fallback to whenever you want, and go ahead and play around at 155 for a bit, make your money, be there for just fun matchups, see how long you can hold on to this BMF for. I mean, if Max Holloway, now we could really start playing. If they do Conor versus Max for the BMF and Max Holloway knocks out McGregor, I don't see it, but let's say he does. Max Holloway is now a Nate Diaz level, like your career is set forever. You can go and do whatever you want forever.
Which he deserves, by the way. Yeah.
He does deserve that. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I like it.
Who do you think wins out of Arnold Allen versus Diego Lopez?
Oh, that's a tough one. I really like Arnold Allen, but I love Diego Lopez as well. I don't think I'm ever going to doubt him again.
Yeah.
What I just saw.
Might have recency bias. But
yeah.
Then Arnold Allen's last fight was against Movzar, yeah?
Which I thought he got badly robbed in, by the way. Robbed by the ref, not by the judges. It was more by the ref than by the judges.
Yeah. Yeah, so did I. And then you have to ask yourself, is Arnold Allen's headspace going to be clear? Like, look at Jan, right? Jan is sort of, Allen's going down that Jan path of like unfortunate loss, and it fucks with especially a fighter like Allen and Jan who need to build momentum and build pace in their fights to win their fights. Going in there against a fighter like Diego Lopez, who's like full of cum right now, ready to go, smashing everything that he sees. Yeah. That matchup, and then Arnold Allen's going to have broken hands because they're taking more padding out of the glove. That matchup is not good.
Yeah, it's going to be wild. Arnold Allen is fighting Giga Chikadze next.
Is that locked in?
That's been booked, yeah. Maybe I've been correct.
I like that fight. I like that fight for Allen. I like that fight a lot.
I like that fight for Allen a lot. I think Giga Chikadze is really overrated. Hang on.
Yeah. I like that a lot for Allen. That's good. That's the sort of like reset.
Back fight. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what he needs right now. Go on.
I'm going to double check. No, I'm just going to double check just to make sure it's not on Sherdog. I don't know why I go to Sherdog. They never have the next fight. Let's check Tapology. I'm pretty sure it's been booked. It's not on there either. I'm not sure when it is, but I'm virtually certain that that's been booked. Pretty sure.
Maybe it's one of those fights that like it's booked in the rumor mill.
Yeah.
But the UFC haven't announced yet.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that was
ESPN haven't got anything on it either yet. So yeah, maybe it's just like we're all handshaking.
I think they've agreed it, but they haven't decided where it's going to go yet.
Yeah, according to Google, but fuck them, mate.
Be great to have that in Manchester. That might be the one.
Sorry.
They might be waiting to announce things for Manchester because I've heard Manchester's going to be where 304 is. Manchester, England.
That would probably be why it's not announced yet.
Yeah,
they'll need Arnold Allen there.
Yeah, they haven't announced anything, and I think Tom that they're waiting to do the same thing with Tom because Tom's saying he's fighting on there, but he hasn't said who yet.
And it was weird of him to announce that.
But we don't know.
An interim champion defending their interim title.
John Jones,
this is the thing, like going back to you're saying if they make Conor McGregor versus Islam, the fans are going to kick up a fuss. The fans kick up a fuss already, and they don't give a fuck about us kicking up a fuss. They've got Chael Sonnen to go out there and say his piece. They've got Bisping to go out there and say his piece, and DC, and they just plow forward.
They just plow through. I don't think people will be as mad about this Tom thing, though. I think of all the interim champions defending in history, when Cormier did it, kind of, and you've had other examples that were happening. I don't think people are going to be as mad about Tom Aspinall because I think the majority of the fan base are like, John Jones is a twat and he should not be champion right now.
When other interim champs defended, people sort of did kick up a fuss about Tony not being recognized as the real champ while Conor was off doing his thing with Mayweather. When other interim champs defended, it was sort of like we knew that the right fight was going to happen eventually. In this situation, it's, hey, MMA fan, why don't you go fuck yourself?
Yeah. That's what it is. Yeah. Fuck you. And the thing is that they're doing all this for, I don't get why the dick ride into John Jones by the UFC still happens. I get that he's a big star. I get it.
Yep.
But it's like he's fought once in like 3 years. We don't know when he's fighting again.
It's literally just because of Francis. It's just because of Francis. I don't think it's got anything to do with Jones because like Dana White and John Jones have a history of hating each other. So this is probably hurting Dana White's ego.
That's a fair point.
But he's putting the company before his ego, which is crazy. But that's what he's doing, because if he can get John Jones that win against Stipe, he can say with confidence, Francis was too scared to fight the best of the best, and John Jones is undeniably, on paper, the best of the best to ever do it. And to Dana, that's more important than my opinion, your opinion, the fans' opinion, his own opinion, his own hatred for Jones.
That's true. And his own hatred for Ngannou. I think, I think you've got a point there. But again, they risk fucking up Tom's legacy by dicking around like this as well.
Yeah. They're putting everything on this fight. Everything. And then it's MMA. Imagine if Stipe somehow...
Oh, I've said this as well. I said this. We also did a video, Making the Walk and I, where we talked about who we want to see get flatlined the most this year. I said John Jones.
Yeah, the look on Dana's face.
I would love it so much if he got absolutely battered. I'd be so happy.
Yeah, I like that.
John
Jones, Ian Gary, Colby Covington, to see them have that Jamal Hill on their face, look up. Oh, fucking die. They're the ones you want to see. That's my list off the top of my head. Yeah, that is what we watch it for. That's why we watch this shit.
We watch wanting to see people we hate get fucking embarrassed. That's why I'm here. That's what it is. That's what I hate art. What can I say? I thrive on it. Yeah. But no, it's interesting.
What does it say? Hating is good.
Yeah, I'm a big advocate for hate, and I do it every day, and I'm proud of it. Lord, I don't know way. Yeah. We definitely have some exciting storylines coming up for sure.
Yeah. Like that's what makes it. It's weird. Like, people are talking about how the UFC has been kind of shit this year, and I think it's a tale of two UFCs. Like, I think the Apex has been horrible, undeniably horrible, but everything that's happening in pay-per-views has been really, really good.
The last three have been unbelievable. They really have. They've been great. I don't think we've had a string of pay-per-views that have been that good in a row in a long time.
No.
Where it's just been
and then if they do Manchester as well, that's going to be phenomenal as well.
That's going to be sick as well, yeah. And ironically, though, the next pay-per-view is probably not going to be that great.
No. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, Jose Aldo coming back is going to carry a lot of weight. A lot of the grey beanie, like, tap-out fans are going to want to see him come back.
And I think there's some value if Usyk, I know that Usyk's not very well known, but imagine he goes in there and starches out Pantoja. Imagine the story they get from that. They probably secretly
and also, it mixes up the division. You know, like, look at this weekend's main event. And you're like, we've just seen the top five there play each other out so much. Let me bring it up, right? Roval, Moreno.
They've all fought each other multiple times. We're just going to see it again. Perez has already been fucked up by Nicolau. This is a waste of time.
Exactly. So you take something like Usyk, put him right at the top. Then when you have, like, Manel Cap, if he can ever make weight, Kai Kara France, then you've got, like, 3 or 4 new names that can filter into the top 5. And we can actually start to have some fun.
I mean, yeah, there's potential there. I love Manel Cap as well. I love him.
He just can't. The mouth on him. Muay Thai striking. It's all there.
It's all there.
Fucking
just
make weight.
Get him in there.
Get him in there. Often.
Yeah.
Fiziev. Fighting often. Strikers, get them in there often.
Get them in there. That's all we need. Just get them in there. And we'll be fine.
Get them in there. Fucking, they should be paid less. Get them hungry.
Yeah, they're not making a good case, are they?
No, absolutely not. Especially when it's... Who's a fighter that most people hate that you guys actually really like?
Yeah, I like this question.
That most people hate that you really like.
You really like? That's a very good question. For me, it was Colby for a while. Like, when everyone was height of hate, I mean, I hate him now, but, like, there was a time when, like, his Leon thing really, really ruined me. It's like a guilty pleasure fighter, I think, is what you're getting at. I really need to think about it. This is hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think I really don't know if I have one. Like I argue a lot for Bilal because I think it's insane what they're doing to Bilal. But I don't like him. I
can't like him. I don't like him. So I'm just like, yeah,
I don't like him.
Yeah, I don't like
but
him.
I can't see someone win that many fights in a row. I can't see someone win that many fights in a row and then have the champion asked to fight 3 other opponents that aren't. I find that so insane.
I do feel sorry for him. And I don't like him. And that means, imagine if I did like him, how much of an injustice I would feel. Do you know what I mean? Because I still feel that, and I dislike the guy very much. And I feel sorry for him.
Me too. That's how low it's gotten for him.
That's how low it's gotten. That's how unfair it is. It's true.
I hate you, but you don't deserve that, mate.
You don't know. Nah, it's bad. Yeah. I can't think of anyone like Colby was the first one that came to mind. Like I can't think of people that. Yeah, people. Who else is really, really hated? I mean, really hated.
Ian Gary, Merab Dvalishvili.
I love Merab. He's grown on me, but I think Merab's more liked now.
Yes, once Merab started putting himself out there on Twitter, he's become more.
Yeah, he's definitely.
Are you excited to see Merab defend a belt a couple of times though?
Not really.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's like I feel like it's all leading up to the. He's basically what's it called? Fodder for O'Malley.
Yeah.
Just to give somebody, they're praying to God that O'Malley lays him out.
Yeah, that's obviously.
If
like you got
people.
You got 3 pay-per-views ahead of you. 3 of them are O'Malley defending. 3 of them are Merab defending. What is getting you hot?
Definitely, I have to say O'Malley, of course. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, because the matchups for Merab would just be, it's just going to be, I don't know. I don't get any boner from that. My MMA boner is shrinking as we speak.
It's not there. Yeah, it's not there. Where to me, I can see O'Malley versus Merab, and I'll be like, maybe O'Malley knocks him out. O'Malley versus Piotr Jan rematch, and that gets me like, finally, justice for Jan. And then O'Malley versus Sandhagen, and all 3, I'm like,
they're like all
this
great.
is a great run. It's a great run.
I especially want to see the O'Malley Sandhagen one. That's the one I'm the most intrigued for.
Yeah,
same. Of all of them. Because I just think stylistically it's going to be very interesting. But they don't want O'Malley having that fight very soon, which is why they're doing this whole. Because Sandhagen deserves a shot where he's at. He's not. It feels like he's nowhere near it in a weird way.
No, he definitely and again, the TJ Dillashaw fight was a bit of a robbery. Like you can chalk that up as a win for Sandhagen as well.
Oh yeah.
So Sandhagen's just as, I mean, not just as good. Like Merab's, Merab picking up Henry Cejudo and making him look like that is a good of a "I'm here now" statement as any.
That was his most impressive. It was a fun performance.
Yes.
I enjoyed that fight. I don't enjoy many Merab fights, but I enjoyed that a lot.
This is the thing. I don't hate wrestling. I hate wet blanketing.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah. Do something with it. Don't just lay on them and, just pump the leg a little bit.
Yeah.
No, that's
piss on them. Give us something.
If I want gay corn on the weekend, I will go to gay corn specifically. I don't want to be watching it and suddenly I get it when I'm not ready for it. I want to
it's been called out, ladies and gentlemen. Bad Mouth knows where to find it. Bad Mouth knows where to get it.
Hit me up on Twitter. I can give you some good links. No trouble.
He knows where to get it. Read the comments, boys. Sorry, Chad Hero.
Sorry,
I like Leon and everyone hates him. I like Leon. Everyone hates him. I don't know if everyone does hate him.
Leon's a great example. Leon is a great example. I love Leon Edwards. And I actually think he's quite funny as well. Like if you actually see him, his interviews and stuff outside the cage, he's a lot funnier than people give him credit for. He's got a lot more personality.
He does any interviews outside of the cage? I get nothing from Leon.
No, because he's British, we see a lot of him.
Right.
So you see a lot more of that come out. I even thought his interactions with Usman were quite funny.
They were good, yeah.
It wasn't
They were good.
It was entertaining enough. Like, it wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It was
Leon is one of those guys where I could just take him or leave him. I don't hate him. I don't love him. I think he's a bit of a decision machine, but he's very Israel Adesanya fight style to me. He collects the points in the cage. He knows when he's winning a round, when he isn't winning a round. He's one of those guys where I feel like if you rush him, you're going to make a good case against him, because he is so rangy on the outside and picking shots. And then when he is on a press conference, he very rarely gets heated up.
Yeah.
So I could take him or leave him.
Yeah. What's this when he asked Nina if she was Arab? Who did that?
Say that again?
Who asked? It's Chad saying throwback when he asked Nina if she was Arab. Who did that? That's something I might have missed. Was that? Can you clarify?
I don't watch a lot of. Chad here, get into that. Man.
I don't watch Nina drama a lot, so I'm like, I mean, I'd bang her, but I don't watch her. You know those ones.
Well, you'd have to look at it while you do it.
You don't know my style. I could manage.
You think the room's dark now, boys? Wait till it gets started.
100%.
What about Doe State on your channel? He said, I was sure they would give Figgy Yan, but Figgy went out to call on Cruz. Not sure that I love that.
That's a bitch call out, that is. Anyone who calls out Cruz now is a pussy. He should be fighting. I
agree.
Song Yadong was one that we mentioned. I said, who was the other one? Antoine mentioned Song Yadong, which I think with Song Yadong coming off a loss, I'm not sure. I said Chio, and there was somebody else. Who else is in that bantamweight ranking that you could have? We actually did a video on it, and I can't remember.
Bantamweight rankings. Davidson Figueiredo, Henry Cejudo, Marlon Vera, Piotr Jan. They're all above him. I do think he needs to fight up.
I said Piotr Jan. I said Piotr Jan.
I think because they're both coming off really nice wins, I'd go Davidson Figueiredo against Vera, and I'd go Jan against Cejudo. So they're both fighting people that are coming off a loss to help build their legacy.
The thing is, though, as good as Chio is good, but he just lost to. He's basically lost 2 in a row. He lost to Santeg and then to O'Malley.
Yeah.
Whereas Jan, like you said, they both won, and they're both little guys. I think it would be interesting.
Yeah. I don't understand what Cruz is doing. Like, Cruz is just wasting time.
He's not fighting.
No. How many wins do you think Figueiredo needs to fight for the belt now? He is a former UFC champion.
He's old, man. He needs to get his skates on. Like, that's what I'm saying. The Yan fight makes sense because if he fights Yan and beats him, that's enough to get a title shot. You've beaten then 2 former champions. I know Corey's got no chin, but like, he's a former champion. You beat him, then you beat Yan. People take you seriously as a bantamweight then.
Yeah. Chad here, I think Figgy needs 8 wins before the belt. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here, man.
Watching Figgy against Cody, I don't think he ever gets that far. I think he gets an eliminator somewhere down the line and he loses. That's what I think is going to happen with Figgy.
Yeah.
I think if he gets a Chio or he gets a Song Yadong or he gets some Piotr Yan, I think he loses all of them. That's my opinion.
I like seeing where he's going right now because he brings a fan base with him after being in so many title fights and so many pay-per-views. So I think, to what you were saying, right? You put him in there against a Marlon Vera, who's coming off a lot of losses, but just fought for a title, right?
Exactly. It's a stock builder.
So he's got that. Yeah, he's a stock builder. He's a former champion, brings a lot of names. You put him in there against Marlon Vera. He gets the win over Vera, right? You've got Davidson Figueiredo, who's got 3 good, tasty wins in a row in a division that's still dominated by Sean O'Malley. You're putting together a really nice, tasty co-main event on a pay-per-view right there. Maybe a little undeserved, but like, I'll let the casual in me come out. I'll let the fan in me come out. That's a tasty little fight that goes right on a co-main event.
Fights work. Him fighting Dominic Cruz does nothing.
No,
nothing for him because he's going to need another 2 or 3 after. He's going to need to fight one of those guys anyway. You're 36, mate. You're a hairdresser. Get on with it.
They get paid too fucking much. Get him back in there.
Get him back. Yeah, he's just. I think he knows he's not. I think he knows that he's gonna have trouble, which is why he called out Dominic Cruz. So another champion. Mate, that's a bitch call out.
A real fight. A real fight. And Petr Yan is a real fight because Petr Yan, if you know, you know. Like he's had a couple of losses, but they're like real serious fighters. You know what I mean? They're one of those losses where like you don't lose any respect.
He's not fighting scrubs. No. If you beat Petr Yan, you get taken seriously instantly. Yes.
Yeah. So that one's right there. Let's punch through a couple of these. It's been 2 hours. I'm happy to wrap up. And I think this has been good. I think like this means if there's no UFC on, we should do this again.
Definitely. Yeah.
So maybe we should leave the chat wanting a little bit more rather than like writing this out until we both run out of energy.
I'm 100%. I hope everyone enjoyed it as much as we did because I've had a fun time here. It's been good.
Yeah, it's been good fun. Should we answer one more each and then wrap it up?
That sounds good to me.
Okay. But Chat Hero is saying, boys, I love this live stream, but try and re-chat more. I think, dude, we'll brainstorm this more offline. I think when we've got 2 separate chats running and we're trying to have good, decent conversation with each other, that might be what we think is interesting at least. Chat might fall to the wayside a little bit more, but I'm a big fan of if you really want us to talk about something, just spam it and we'll get to it.
Yeah, and we'll do it. Because the thing is that the plan was to have both chats in what. So I feel like I'm looking everywhere right now. This was very unprofessionally executed. I'll be the first one to say that. we jumped on about 5 minutes before we were going on live, and we were like, "So how the fuck do we do this?"
Like, should we fucking check this? We were just chatting. We should fucking check this.
Do you know what I mean? So there is an element of that. We definitely don't mean to ignore like comments at all.
Yeah,
doing it one channel at a time definitely makes sense as well. Because basically what we were supposed to do is both channels were supposed to automatically connect to the same place. I've got about 3 screens going on right now. I can see 8 of my own face, and I'm very fucking discombobulated right now.
I don't know how I have a girlfriend. Looking back at me from this many angles, she fucking puts up with it. All right. So we'll do this again. Let's do one more each. We'll get out of here.
Sounds great.
All right. I wonder why people like Figgy. To be honest, he's very annoying to me. I wonder why people like Figgy. So, Chat Hero, with this one, I'll just jump on this because it's the most recent one that I've seen. I think what we've sort of been talking about in the stream of you get a certain fighter on a pay-per-view in front of that casual sports fan more and more. It's easier to build a relationship with the fighter when they're headlining main events. You get so many more promos, so many more scenes. They get so many more questions in interviews. By the time they've done, I mean, how many main events has Figueiredo done now? Bad math. Must be like 5 or 6.
Well, he did 4 against Just Moreno.
Yeah, 4 against Just Moreno. Plus he was on UFC 300. So we've built a really decent relationship with Figgy over like what now is a 5-year span. So I think when you're building fans like Ilia Topuria, which is what I was going on by saying, with Ilia Topuria, hold off Max Holloway. Get him in there against Volkanovski. Get another win. That's another pay-per-view. That's another media day. That's relationship building with the regular audience, which is right back to where we started everything. What makes the fucking UFC so much better than every other organization? We give a shit about these fighters' stories because they're so good at telling them, where the other organizations are just dog shit. So that's probably a very long answer as to why fans like Figgy, because we've seen so much.
I agree with that as well. I do, and I think I don't think he's necessarily. I can get why people don't like him. I mean, he doesn't. He doesn't. His personality is not that much out there. I think he's more popular with the fan base. The region that he's in, which again is very important to the UFC, and it's something that people don't really, take into account. The UFC is thinking about multiple markets all the time. Like, how can we get Mexico? How can we get Brazilian fans on board? How can we get Chinese fans on board and UK fans? And that's why it's very hard to juggle everything at the same time. And I get why they're doing it. Like it's It's about having their fingers in every pie that they can, which I understand.
They try and lock down a region. Once they lock down a region, then really your best opportunity at getting a title shot in the UFC is hoping that no one else in your region has one. Like we've been saying, they don't give a fuck about Aspinall. They've got Leon right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna look to push Leon out for Aspinall, but you're exactly right. Or hope that if you are taken on, that you're more marketable than the champion who's already there.
Yeah, which is why they don't give a fuck about Volkanovski anymore. Like they've tapped Australia. They can pop out for that region. And I also think like they feel like East Oceania, as I'll call us, is a very safe market. Like we don't need a champion to watch.
Tune in. As long as you've got a fighter who's represented. You've got JDM, you'll tune in for him.
Yep.
You'll tune in for Robert, regardless of who he's fighting.
Yeah.
And you'll tune in for Volk, regardless of who he's fighting. You won't tune in for Izzy because he ain't really one of y'all. You know what I mean? He's a man of the world. Chinese, yeah.
He's Chinese.
Yeah, so we'll see. I get it. I get why it's panning out that way. I get it. I get what they're doing. It's very clever.
I mean, they want to be like soccer. They want to attack the soccer market, which I get. Do you want to attack one of the questions in your chat before we go?
Yeah, it was just something that kind of a combination of what Doa and Making the Walk was saying. I actually do like the Yan fight more than the Song fight, as long as the timelines match up with Yan coming off the knee injury. And yeah, the timing is going to be a very big factor in terms of how that all lines up. It feels like I said at the moment that everything's a mess. And that but the UFC kind of is that way. It's just a chaotic place because they've got such a rich talent roster now. There's so many people to deal with. And it's a good problem to have. We might not always get the fights that we want, but we're going to get good fights.
Yeah, and that is what makes having a good top 7 so interesting. Like once a roster, like you're saying, these timelines have to work up for these fights that make sense right now. But then something like this Jamal Hill fight comes along where it just throws a spanner in the works and switches everything up. There was all this talk years ago of Izzy's just fought everyone. He's just recycling everyone. Alex Pereira comes in, Sean Strickland come in, and all of a sudden the division's wide open. Everything changes.
Yeah. But that's part of the excitement. You get new contenders coming into the arena all the time, and it's awesome. Like it's what makes the sport great. It's what makes the sport great.
So even if the timelines don't match up.
100%, yeah. No, I was just gonna give a quick before I forget. I do want to remind people, first of all, thank you to everyone who turned up. Because
absolutely.
It's awesome to see the chat popping off the way it is. And yeah, if you're subscribed to me and you're not subscribed to Dougie, please do that immediately. Also check out Making the Walk, who's somebody that I partner with a lot on my channels as well. And of course, if you're not subscribed to me, subscribe to me too. Exactly. So it's going to be an opportunity for all of us to do stuff together, and you get a variety of content channels. By
the end of this stream, we should have 758 subs each. Everyone who is subbed to everyone.
That would be beautiful. I've been stuck in the 600s for a little while now, and I'm getting tired of it. I'd like to crack.
No, I get the feeling, mate. I get the feeling. I get the feeling. Yeah, I see it as I don't understand like I can't listen to enough MMA. Like these people only make so many videos a day. So to have more people to listen to and different perspectives makes it more fun. Especially, I think we've been a little bit too agreeable. We're gonna have to find something to argue about eventually. Especially,
don't worry, I'm a total asshole. Don't worry. We're just bedding in nice and easily here. We're gonna have like massive rows that people are gonna be able to clip up and be like, "Fuck me! Look at these two!" Like, I'm looking forward to that as well because I do enjoy a bit of a tear up every now and then. It is the way it is. And the thing is, we do have difference. We have had difference of opinions before, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No. That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it the best. So, I think this has been awesome. So, guys,
thank you for inviting me.
We will try and do this again. No, man, it's been great. I enjoy this a lot. Sub to everyone's channels. Watch everyone's live streams. It's good shit. Like, sub. I have a Discord, by the way, if you guys want to keep bantering with each other and sharing memes. Frankie, I don't know if you have one.
I need to check out my Discord. I'm not very familiar with Discord. I'm a dinosaur, mate. I'm going to get on it.
Neither was I, but the #1 king sub, Muhammad Ali, in my chat is a fucking
legend. Yeah,
right or die, absolute legend. Let's fucking pump him up right there. Mo, you're a legend. Name the Discord right there. Lads, I'll see you all right, Frankie.
In a bit, guys. Thanks very much.
It's been a pleasure, guys. See you later.
Cheers.